Maria Bosworth is suing her ex-husband, police officer Anthony Bosworth Sr., for having her falsely arrested for child abuse. Anthony claims he did nothing wrong.
This is your former husband.
Yes, ma'am.
You have 2 children together, and it is your claim that he is responsible for having you falsely arrested after an incident that involved one of your children who was 18.
Yes.
Mr. Bosworth says that you caused the whole incident yourself.
Correct.
Now, you were married when?
In 1988.
And when were you divorced?
97, ma'am.
Who had primary physical custody of the children in 1997?
I did.
And how often did their father spend time with them?
Not that often, ma'am.
How often, Mr. Bosworth, did you visit with your children starting in 1997?
It varied. It usually was once a week.
Usually. Sometimes you skipped a week?
Sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on my work schedule.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I'm a police officer right now.
How long have you been a police officer?
Since 1999.
And did you have a reasonable relationship with your former wife?
No, my relationship with my former wife has been hostile and unreasonable.
Okay. Now, I tried to piece together from your complaint and from your answer what transpired on, what date this happened?
July 24th of 05.
And I gather that you had an argument with your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
The argument was about?
Her not cleaning her room.
Had that been an ongoing problem?
Yes. All weekend I had asked her to clean her room, Friday and Saturday. Sunday, her room was still a mess. She constantly was on the telephone. And at that point, I removed the cell phone. I told her until she was to clean the room, that cell phone was not going to be given back to her.
Now, this is the problem. Mr. Bosworth.
Yes.
Your former wife takes the telephone away from her daughter, who has not followed a house direction. So far, correct?
Correct.
And as far as I'm concerned, so far, her prerogative. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
So your daughter calls you on the phone and says to you, she took my phone away.
No.
Well, tell me what happened, sir, that brought you over to the house that day.
I originally got the phone from my daughter.
I don't care. Don't give me any stories about giving the phone to a teenage daughter. How did you come over to the house that day, Mr. Bosworth?
I had gotten tired of not being able to contact my daughter via the cell phone. Therefore, I went to the house that day. On July 24th of 05.
July 24th, you tried to contact your daughter.
Yes.
And you couldn't.
Correct.
Go ahead.
So the phone was in my name. I purchased the phone for her use. Therefore, I wanted the phone back because if my daughter's not going to be able to use it...
Mr. Bosworth, you're skipping a step, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And don't skip a step with me.
What step would you like me to begin at, Judge?
I want to know when you found out that your former wife had taken the phone away from your daughter.
I had called that day, and my daughter had told me...
That's right.
...that she had taken the phone again.
So, you went over there because you wanted your phone back.
Correct.
Wrong! 125% wrong. Your daughter complained to you that her mother took the phone, and you went over there and stuck your nose in where it didn't belong. Because while your daughter is living under her mother's roof, her mother owns the air she breathes.
Okay.
And if you gave your daughter a phone to use, you don't get in between that sort of discipline between her and her daughter. You interfered with discipline for the person who has primary physical custody of the 2 children. She ignored her mother's direction for 3 days, and her mother said, listen, I'm tired of seeing you sitting on the phone for 3 days while I asked you to clean up the room that's in my house that I pay for. So give me the phone. You come and say, it's not your phone. You give me the phone.
Correct.
That was the wrong thing to do, sir. Now, did you call the police, sir?
When I went to retrieve the phone, my ex-wife slammed the door in my face and refused
Because you came in and said, what did you say, Mr. Bosworth?
I asked my ex-wife...
What did you say? Don't ask me.
If she would give me the phone back.
What did he say, Miss Bosworth? That's not what you said.
Where the F is my phone?
That sounds right, Mr. Bosworth.
That
sounds right, Mr. Bosworth, because how far do you live?
About 5-10 minutes from her house.
And what were you doing when you called your daughter and said, I can't get in touch with you?
I was just hanging around the house, I believe.
And what time of the day or evening was it?
Early evening. Sometime
and your
after
family
4.
was home?
I believe so.
And you have wife?
Yes.
You have children?
Not with my current wife, no.
She has children?
Yes.
That live with you?
Yes, at the time.
Good. So now you have a wife and children, and you get up and you leave them to go over and retrieve your cell phone. So my sense of that, sir, is that you were annoyed, especially since you indicated to me briefly a moment ago that it's not the first time she's taken away the phone, right?
Correct.
So you were really annoyed this time. And when you got there, you want me to believe, Mr. Bosworth, that you said to your former wife, "May I please have my phone back?" That's what you want me to believe you said?
Your Honor, I am not a loud person. I'm not a violent person.
I don't say you're loud or violent, sir. I'm asking you if you want me to believe that you knocked at the door and said, "I'd like my phone back."
I'm not hostile to the point where I will curse at her in her own home. I am very respectful of her in her own home as well as my children in her own home.
You know, sir, I know you've been a police officer for almost 10 years. I've been sitting here for almost 30. Some things make sense and some things don't make sense. What doesn't make sense is why somebody would get in their car in the evening, leave their family, and go over to their former wife's home where there had been a dispute with an adult child, because she's 18 years old, and there was no indication that her mother had beat her, had tied her to a radiator, had stripped her down and throttled her with a belt. She took away her cell phone because she was being disrespectful. You left your family, you went over there, and you caused a problem.
No, I did not.
Oh, yes, you did. Did you call the police?
Before the problem...
Did you call the police?
Yes, I did.
Because you didn't get your cell phone?
Because I didn't want a problem with my ex-wife.
Slam the door.
Mr. Bosworth, you're not following me, sir. If you think that you're right, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. And I'm usually very, very respectful of police officers because I think that they do a very tough job. You abused your position as a police officer by calling the police to go over there and retrieve a cell phone.
At that time.
They have better things to do than to deal with your ego. They have people to protect. And if you wanted your cell phone back, all you have to do is you call and you say to the cell phone company, "I'm discontinuing the service on this cell phone." That's it. And you tell your daughter, "Listen, you want to live with your mother? You got to live with her rules. I'm not interfering with that." You chose to interfere with it, and you made a big to-do over nothing. And if you feel as if you're being dressed down today, you are. You are being dressed down because you did the wrong thing. That doesn't mean that you have a case, Miss Bosworth. That means that he behaved badly.
Yes.
So far.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I said, "I don't have his phone." This officer said, "You're lying." At this point, he came around, handcuffed me so quickly, I couldn't even tell you how he put the cuffs on me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maria Bosworth claims ex-husband, police officer Anthony Bosworth Sr., had her falsely arrested for child abuse. Anthony says Maria got herself arrested.
What kind of community do you live in? How big a town?
About 150,000 citizens.
And how many police officers for 150,000 citizens?
350 to 400. I might add that at the time of the incident, I was not a police officer at that time. I gotten laid off in 2003 and reinstated at the beginning of this year.
So you were a police officer. So these were people that you knew?
Not personally.
These were people that you knew and that knew that you were a police officer.
Yes.
Otherwise, you know what they would have said to you if they called up and said, "I'm going to my ex-wife's house to get my cell phone back"? They would have said to you, "Don't get us involved with this, Mr. Bosworth. You want your cell phone back? Go to civil court." But because they were covering for you, they reported and took people away from important business to deal with your ego. Outrageous. Okay, so what happened when the police got there?
He had called me on the phone and was rude and belligerent, and I hung up the phone. That's why he got to my house so quickly, because he was upset that I hung up, because I was not going to tolerate him being disrespectful on the phone. When he got to my door, he rang the bell excessively, I would say 20 to 30 times. And when I got to the door, I slammed the door. I told him, "You don't know what's going on, you need not to meddle." He never asked me what had occurred for me to remove the cell phone from my daughter. So at that point, I went back to baking as I was. I realized I needed some additional spices. I left, and Mr. Bosworth's outside, and he said, "Where are you going? The police are on their way." I looked at him, and I said, "You entertain them. I feel that I didn't do nothing wrong for the police to be at my home."
Absolutely right.
I got in my van, and I proceeded to back up. The officer came, and he acknowledged Mr. Bosworth. He said, "Hello, Boz." And my ex-husband said, "She's about to pull out." The officer said, no, she's not. Pull that van forward. At that point, I complied. He put his cruiser behind my van. The officer got out, went to Mr. Bosworth, shook his hand. They gave a hug, and they started talking.
Put your hand down, sir.
I went right up to my daughter, Your Honor. She was outside as well. And I put my hand on her arm, and I said, come here. Having Daddy and the police here doesn't change the rules in there. Mr. Bosworth, that I heard him tell Officer, get her away from her. My daughter at this point was crying uncontrollably. This girl, all she wanted was her cell phone, and his intention was to get it out of my hand and put it in her hand, undermine my authority. This is why my kids don't respect me.
Got it. At what point were you arrested?
I would say a half hour later. At this point, my daughter was crying. The officer kept on grabbing me, and I have photos, Your Honor, of what he did to my arm, his buddy. This is not from the shacks. This is actually from him holding me. And I kept on telling the officer, please let go, you're hurting me. And he kept on grabbing. I said, you're hurting me, let go, what's your problem? He got in my face and he said, get your effing in the house or I'm going to find many reasons to arrest you. So at this point, I said, let go, you're hurting me. And he kept on squeezing tighter. So I did go in the home. My daughter was pressed on time. She left crying uncontrollably with her boyfriend. Mr. Bosworth and this officer stayed in front of my house for a good 15 minutes. And I couldn't figure out why are they still there. And I went inside of the garage, Your Honor, to listen. And I heard Mr. Bosworth tell him, however, I am of an ex-wife, and that mentally and physically I abused my children.
I want to know at what point you were arrested.
At this point, I decided to go in my backyard. I thought the matter was over. They were just talking. I was hoping to God that they just leave. And I was in the backyard. This officer opened my gate, and it's a 6-foot-tall gate. And he came and he said, where's his phone? I said, I don't have his phone. This officer said, you're lying. At this point, the officer called me a liar. I said, sir, I'm not comfortable with you because you know my ex-husband. I want a supervisor. My cordless phone was right there where I was on my deck. I got my cordless phone, and I pressed 9, and I attempted to dial for a supervisor. He came around, handcuffed me so quickly, I couldn't even tell you how he put the cuffs on me.
Listen, Miss Bosworth, why didn't you sue the police department?
My attorney told me to wait until the matter was over, and in June of this year, 06, it was over. I did file charges.
And the case was dismissed?
Yes. He never showed up in court, Your Honor.
Good thing. But is your attorney filing a lawsuit against the police department?
We are in the process.
That's exactly what you should do.
Yes.
Him too. Him too. Outrageous conduct, sir. Outrageous abuse of your power. Let me see the police report.
If you look at the police report, it was not my actions that caused her to get arrested.
Oh, listen to me, sir. Listen to me, sir. I know exactly what happened, sir. I want to see what the police officer wrote down in this police report. Not necessarily that I believe it.
All
lies. I just want to read it. Outrageous. Your conduct is outrageous, Mr. Bosworth. I'm amazed that you're a peace officer.
Mm-hmm.
Officers were dispatched to assist a subject in retrieving his cell phone.
And they know him.
Shh. Where is your daughter now, Miss Bosworth?
She's in college in Georgia.
Is this her first year in college?
Yes, ma'am.
Graduated from high school with reasonable grades?
3.2.
And she got the 3.2 living in your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Not living with her father?
No, ma'am.
I'm speaking. Not living with her father?
Never.
Who filled out her applications with her?
I did.
Not her father?
No.
Father gives her cell phones?
Oh, yeah.
The fact that your former husband exercised the poorest of judgment does not make your case actionable against him. The fact that he abused his power as a police officer, despite the fact that he'd been a laid-off police officer, calling the police. And you lied to me, by the way, when you said you didn't know these officers. The police officer said that he knows you. Abused his power. That's also not actionable. He has the right to come over to your house. He also has the right to call the police. They have the right to hang up on him and say, go to civil court, as in their protocol for most things that have to do with property. They chose not to do that in this case. And in my view, that is actionable on your part, civilly, against the police department, not necessarily against him.
He instructed the officer to arrest me if I didn't give the cell phone. If I gave the cell phone, I would never got arrested.
I never instructed any police officer
They
to
told
take
me down
action.
at the police station.
Your Honor.
Just a second, sir. You know, officer.
No, I do not personally.
Well, he says
They were partners.
the above, a male known to the officer.
All officers know each other's names, especially laid-off officers at that time.
Well, sir, what I'm saying to you is,
He knew I
very
was a police
easy,
officer, yes.
very, very easy for you to resolve that, sir. You could have brought Officer with you as a witness.
I tried to get both officers to come as a witness, and they both told me they didn't want anything to do with this woman.
I wouldn't either, because I got to tell you something.
As well as the witnesses that were there, her neighbors, they didn't want anything to do with this. They wrote statements. They showed me pictures of her past incidences.
Your Honor.
Shh, listen to me, sir.
May I ask?
Miss Bosworth, I want to tell you something.
Yes.
He did the wrong thing. I think that in 1,000 years, he never expected to come here today and be dressed down. Never expected to be dressed down, because nobody has told him he was wrong, except you. And he doesn't believe you because he thinks you're nutty. I'm prepared to tell him that he's wrong, that he did absolutely 100% the wrong thing that day in July.
Thank you. May I add something, Your Honor?
No, it's not necessary.
It's important.
Okay.
My attorney tried to subpoena the 911 call. There was never a 911 call. He called officer on his personal cell phone. He knows he has the section of my city. My attorney...
Just a second. Eventually, if this matter proceeds to a civil lawsuit against the city, which I assume it will, and I assume it should, they can't doctor 911 calls dating back to July.
Your Honor.
Excuse me?
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Was there a 911 call?
No, there was not. I called the police non-emergency line to ask for an assist to prevent a breach of the peace. Therefore, they determined which officer would show up.
Just a second. You called a non-emergency number that takes you right into the police station.
The dispatch
That
center,
takes you right into the police station.
Yes.
I got it.
Not directly.
I got it. No, I got it. I got it. Where is that number published?
In the yellow pages. Yellow pages of the phone book.
Not a 911 number, though.
No, ma'am.
No. So that peace officers know how to get in touch with that number, right?
Every citizen should know that.
No, I don't. We have a large audience here. I want you to raise your hands, please, if any of you know the non-emergency number to get to your local police precinct in order to have a car dispatched. Raise your hand. Look at this.
Ma'am, it's in the phone book.
Look, I don't care if it's in the phone book. You just said to me every citizen should know the number.
They should.
Look at these. These are intelligent people. I don't know the number, and you're not going to find anybody more intelligent than me when it comes to law enforcement, Mr. Bosworth.
I believe you, Your Honor.
Case against him is dismissed. But I wish that I were the judge presiding over the case against the police department where
What about the mental anguish I suffered according...
Listen, you picked him. You picked him. But your lawsuit is a valid one. He exercised poor judgment that day. Poor judgment is not compensated in this way. But the police department have a duty to act responsibly. They have a duty, and they acted not only irresponsibly, but there is no question that they responded to that location because of who he was, and they did absolutely the wrong thing. It was a nonviolent situation when they were asked to come to help retrieve a cell phone, and I absolutely believe you when you say that the police officer came back and said to you, now I want the cell phone. That, sir, is a civil matter. Clear? Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The mental anguish that I have gone through over this matter is unbelievable.
For the past 15 years, it's been a pain.
It was pretty intense.
I'm done with my ex-wife. I have nothing to do with it.
I hope he leaves me alone. If I never see Mr. Bosworth, my life's...
Owen is suing his ex-girlfriend, 19-year-old Jennifer Hansel, for making unauthorized credit card charges while he was in Iraq.
This is case number 143 on the calendar in the matter of Owen versus Hansel. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Mr. Owen, the defendant was your girlfriend, and subsequently you became engaged. It is your claim that at some point you were foolish enough to give her a credit card that she was supposed to use, according to you, for emergencies. The only problem, Mr. Owen, is her definition of an emergency and yours were different. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're no longer a couple. You want her to pay you back for those credit card charges.
Yes, Your Honor.
And second, you purchased a car. The car was for her. You took back the car. You'll explain why. And at this point, if you went to sell the car, you believe that you would be short $3,000, something like that, in the shortfall of what you could sell it for and what the loan is that you're responsible for.
Yes,
so you wanted to pay for that.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a big problem, sir. I'm going to explain the legalese to you in a moment. By the way, Ms. Hansel says the credit card was a gift and the car you took back, and she's counterclaiming for some harassment nonsense. So I'll hear you in due course. When did you start dating the defendant?
The defendant and I started dating about September 11th, Your Honor. About a week and a half before I left to Iraq, Your Honor.
Is that when you met her?
Yes.
2005,
Your Honor.
When did you give her the credit card?
I gave her the credit card in February, Your Honor.
And you were still in Iraq at that time. What did you do, mail it to her?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
So far, is that correct? Why did you mail her a credit card? You knew her for a week and a half.
At this time, Your Honor, Jennifer and I had become very close over the phone when I was in Iraq. We all fallen in love. I trusted her very much. In February, she had got evicted from her house, and she had no place to go.
Do you know why she got evicted from her house?
Because she had thrown a party at her house.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Well, he didn't answer me yet.
Because she had thrown a party at her house. The landlords found out about it, and they didn't like it very much, so...
Is that what she told you?
That's what she told me, Your Honor. So she gave him 2 weeks' notice that she was leaving, and she came home from work one day, and all of her stuff was out in the lawn. She had nowhere to go. At that time, Your Honor, she had no money, so she had asked me to loan her some money so that she could find a place to stay, get food and whatnot. So I told her I would put her on my credit card as a secondary, and she could use it for emergencies purposes only. A couple of weeks later, I got a call from my Discover Card statement saying there had been multiple charges to Charlotte Russe, different clothing companies. I asked the defendant about these charges, and she said, yes, I had made these charges to these clothing companies.
Well, did she also charge a motel, a place to stay, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. As far as gas, motel, clothes, food. I got paperwork if you would like to see it.
Well, I'd like to see it because you did tell her she could use it for emergencies. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
You went to stay at a Best Western hotel?
Yes.
Albertsons certainly is food, Exxon is gas, Chevron is gas, and Taylor stores. You went shopping for clothes.
I had a new job, and the clothes that I had did not fit the dress code.
That's too bad. Did you ask him if you could use the credit card for clothes?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He said it was fine.
Is that right?
No, it's not, Your Honor. I asked the defendant about it, and she said I needed them for work and that I would pay you back.
Okay. What'd you buy in Abercrombie and Fitch?
Clothes as well.
Also for your dress code?
Partly, yes. Button-down polo shirts.
Where were you working, by the way?
I was working at R.W. Smith in the mailroom.
And you needed a new wardrobe for the mailroom. What'd you buy at the Coach store that you needed?
That was a present. I didn't buy that.
Present for?
From him.
He was in Iraq.
You can make online purchases. It was not something that I bought for myself.
Did you buy her a pocketbook at Coach?
No, I did not, Your Honor. There is a receipt there showing that with her signature from the Coach store.
Well?
It was a present from Connor Owen.
You mean he called and ordered it, or you went and picked it out?
What was the date?
What difference does it make? How many Coach bags do you own?
More than one.
How many?
4.
How many did you get in 2006?
3.
From whom?
2 were presents. 1 I bought myself.
When did you buy the one yourself?
January.
This isn't that one. When did you get the presents and from whom?
Both from him.
What month?
1 in March and 1 when he had returned in May.
This wasn't May, so you must have gone in to pick it out yourself, right? This was in April, April 15th. So you went to the store, picked it out yourself, and bought yourself a present from him. She really had a sucker. When in May did you return, sir?
I returned April 12th, Your Honor.
Did you tell her that she could use your credit card for an eye exam?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Yes, he did.
Why didn't you pay for your own eye exam? You're working.
I didn't have insurance, and I didn't have enough money.
This wasn't insurance. You paid for this on a credit card. That's not insurance. His credit card is not your insurance.
That's why I needed the credit card, because I did not have insurance to pay for it, Your Honor.
You had a job. A job pays you money. Why didn't you pay for your own eye exam?
My job was not paying enough money to cover extra expenses.
You mean like Coach pocketbooks?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did she give you any money towards this credit card?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
You know why?
She was using me, Your Honor.
She's a user.
And later today,
You buy a 16-year-old car, you do so at your own peril. Anybody with half a noodle understands that.
Connor Owen says while he was on duty in Iraq, ex-girlfriend Jennifer Hansel made unauthorized charges on his credit card. Jennifer is countersuing, claiming Connor is stalking her.
Now, why didn't you take this credit card back from her, sir?
I did not take it back because...
Look at me!
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you got back in April.
Yes.
And you've already gotten some bills. So you know that she's been abusing your credit card.
At that time, I didn't, Your Honor, because my mailing address was being sent to Alaska, my home address.
Listen, you already, according to you, gotten word from the credit card company that they were on alert because there were a lot of clothing purchases.
Yes, Your Honor. This is when I was in Iraq.
But then you came home from Iraq, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you, the first thing you did, as soon as you came home, take the credit card away from her?
Because when she said before that she would use it for emergencies only, I trusted her that she would.
Mr. Owen, I don't believe you, sir. When did you become engaged?
We were never engaged, Your Honor.
Just a second. On April 12th, I returned from Iraq. Jen and I got engaged, and we were very happy. That's what you wrote in your complaint.
My complaint, Your Honor? I never...
That's not true.
We were never engaged, Your Honor.
Would you show this to him, please? That is your signature on that document, is it not, sir? That's the complaint.
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
And what does that say, where I have made a big star?
It says Jen and I had got engaged and were very happy.
I assume you read that before you signed it?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'll take it back now. When did you break up?
We broke up June 5th, Your Honor.
Why?
She didn't want to have a relationship with me anymore, Your Honor.
When did you take your credit card back from her?
The same day, Your Honor.
And between the time you got home in April and June, did she give you any money towards this credit card?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
You know why, Mr. Owen?
She was using me, Your Honor.
That's right. But she could only use you if you allowed yourself to be used. She's not a nice person.
I realize that now, Your Honor.
Well, that doesn't make a lawsuit, Mr. Owen. She's a user. And if you had stayed together with her and she didn't pay you this money, you wouldn't have sued her. You decided to sue her because she broke up with you. Now tell me about the car, and then I'll tell you what your problem is with the car.
When I was in Iraq, Your Honor, she had a very unreliable car that was breaking down. I got back, and we went to South Bay Volkswagen to purchase her a new Volkswagen Jetta. They would not approve it because her credit is not sufficient enough to have a vehicle.
She can't pay for an eye exam. She can't pay for a new Jetta.
Yes, Your Honor. I talked to the finance officer. He said, we can't approve it with your name under it. Jennifer and I had talked about it, and we had made a contract stating she was financially responsible for the vehicle. I had nothing to do with all finances.
Did she make the payments?
No, she didn't, Your Honor.
So you took the car back?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Where is the car now?
I'm trying to sell it right now, Your Honor.
You can't anticipate, sir, in a lawsuit, what you're going to get for your car. That means that I would have to speculate as to what you would get for the car. And we don't do anticipatory lawsuits in this country. Unfortunately, that means that what you have to do is you have to sell the car and then sue her for the difference. Then you have an actual damage. Right now, you only have a speculative damage with regard to the car. Now, who are you?
I'm his mother.
You didn't tell him good enough.
Yeah.
That's it.
Took the car to a dealership yesterday.
I don't care what you took the car to a dealership and what they told you, madam. That's hearsay. He has to sell the car, and then he has to sue her for the difference between what he got for the car and what's owed for the car. And if the court finds at that time that there was a contract that she did not fulfill, the court will enter a judgment against her. I suggest you do that.
Okay.
What?
Your Honor, I'm also suing her for the down payment of the car and the first car payment.
You can't do that, sir. You're in love. And because she disappointed you doesn't mean that you now can come back and sue her for all the things that you really gave her when you were in love. Now, if you were notified in Iraq that she was using this credit card for non-emergencies, somebody that you knew, for 1 week before you went there, and you cut off your credit card and sued her for the things she had purchased, I would say, perfect. But what you did was you allowed her to continue to use that credit card even after you came home without taking it back from her, without calling up and canceling it and saying, listen, I love you, honey, and I want to be with you forever. But until we're married, you can't have my credit card. And I'm certainly not going to put down for a down payment on a car, for the first car payment for you, because you haven't paid me back what you owe me on the credit card. Right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's a gift. Or stupidity. I don't know which one. Either one I don't deal with. Put your hand down, sir. Now, you have 30 seconds to tell me about your counterclaim, madam.
My counterclaim is because of 3 instances of breaking and entering. I have 2 police reports to support that and repeated stalking.
Time's running.
Would you like to see the copies of the police
No, what
reports?
you tell me?
He broke into my house once after we had broken up, begging me to get back together. I said no. He left hastily. Broke in a second time for the same reason. Again, I said no, and he left again. And the third incident was stalking and threats at my workplace.
Well, tell me about the stalking and threats at your workplace.
Stalking, he was seen at my workplace waiting for me to come.
Did you see
No,
him?
my
You have
witness.
this witness?
Yes.
Step up. Your name?
My name is Rachel, and I'm a witness.
Rachel is a first name.
My name is Miss Spence.
Okay, where do you work?
I work in the same mall as she does at Lens Crafters.
Let me hear you.
Well, I've seen him. I caught him stalking Miss Hansel right here during
Stalking
work.
is a judicial determination. You saw him doing what?
I saw him watching her while I was at work
Watching her from where?
from behind like a corner,
And?
and it seemed kind of creepy to me personally, which I thought was kind of weird, which is why I'm here.
And how many times did you see him watching her?
I've only seen him once.
When was that?
That was about a month ago. I'm not sure the exact date.
In the month of?
The month of May.
Was I looking at you?
No.
The month of May?
Correct.
Well, in the month of May, they were still a couple, madam. They didn't break up until June. So maybe he was just waiting for her. Thank you. Can I have a seat?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Next time, pick more carefully. Not everything that has a pretty face is a nice person.
And later today,
If you wanted that she had full coverage on the car, you put it in the contract.
I'm not a car dealer, Your Honor.
I don't give a rat's two whether you're a car dealer or whether you repair antennas on Mars.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Connor Owen says, while he was on duty in Iraq, ex-girlfriend Jennifer Hansel made unauthorized charges on his credit card. Jennifer is countersuing, claiming Connor is stalking her.
Okay. Did he ask for any money from you?
Yes.
When?
He asked both times that he had broken into my house.
And what did he say?
He said, give me the money you owe me.
And what did you say?
How much?
Mm-hmm.
And each time it was a different random dollar amount. I asked him to explain to me what it was for, and I would be more than happy to pay him for it.
Oh, well, now he's here to tell you.
I'm waiting for the dollar amount and why.
Well, let's start out by the fact that you acknowledge that he gave you this credit card because you called him and said, I have no place to stay, I'm broke, can you help me for this emergency? And he gave you the credit card. And I want you to assume for the purpose of your answer, madam, that I don't buy your Ann Taylor or Abercrombie & Fitch purchases as necessaries. Do you understand?
Yes.
So how much do you think you owe him?
I haven't even tried to total it up, so I'd feel uncomfortable giving you an exact dollar amount.
Good. If I told you that the merchandise purchases that you made totaled $1,500, would that sound right to you?
Yes.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. Next time, pick more carefully. Not everything that has a pretty face is a nice person.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counterclaims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
At the time we were dating, I didn't think I was being taken advantage of because we were dating and the feelings we have for each other. But now that I look back on it, I do see it was stupid.
I think his motivation was to get revenge for the fact that I don't want to be with him anymore.
He's a nice guy. I have 5 boys. They're all nice. We've taught him to give to other people.
I think he's a really nice guy, and it's a bummer that it didn't work out.
Hopefully I can just move on and she can move on and go about her business.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brading versus White. Step forward.
26-year-old Amber Brading is suing her ex-boyfriend, 25-year-old Brandon White, for crashing her car while driving drunk. Brandon says the insurance company has already paid the bill.
Miss Brading, you and Mr. White were friends. You went out drinking together one evening. When was this?
This was on the night of February 1st.
Where do you live?
I live in Dayton, Ohio. Just recently I moved to Dallas, Texas.
Was it just the two of you going out drinking?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. This is your lawsuit. You claim that the defendant was the designated driver that evening, that the two of you went out drinking, and that both of you drank. On the way home or on the way from one place to another, he got into an accident and totaled your car. And your insurance company paid you out minus the $500 deductible on your insurance. So far, am I correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you want Mr. White to pay you the $500 deductible, and because you couldn't replace your car with what the insurance company gave you on the car, which was how much?
They gave me $1,976, I believe.
So because you couldn't replace a car for $2,000, in addition to the deductible, you want him to give you another $2,500 because that's what you had to put down to get another car. That's your lawsuit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. White says a couple of things. First of all, he claims that you drugged him that evening. And as far as the rest of the claim is concerned, he says, you're really crazy. All right, Miss Brading, what do you do for a living?
I'm currently a waitress.
Where?
At Sullivan's Steakhouse in Dallas, Texas, Your Honor.
What about you, Mr. White?
I work in a restaurant as well.
What restaurant?
Bob Evans.
What do you do?
I'm a manager.
And where is Bob Evans?
On Dorothy Lane in Dayton, Ohio.
February 1st, 2006. Tell me about that evening, Miss Brading.
That evening, I went to Mr. White's house and I picked him up. We had plans to go to Bargo's. He agreed to be the designated driver that evening. Stayed there for a few drinks. Exactly what he drank, I'm not sure of. And then we went to Tailgaters, a different bar approximately 10 miles away. I insisted we call a cab for that evening, and he said, no, I'm okay. And then from there, he wrecked my car and got a DUI, DUS.
How did he wreck your car?
He was failure to control.
Okay. He got a DUI.
May I speak?
Got a DUI. The insurance company paid you for the car.
Yes, but there is still a balance left on what I still owe on the loan.
Really? How much?
$816.
Did you pay them?
Not yet. I had to put money down for a new car. I can't put my son in a car that's considered totaled.
How old is your son?
4 years old.
Who did you leave your son with when you went out drinking?
He was with his grandmother.
Is that your mother?
No, his father's mother.
Does he live with his father?
No, I have full custody.
What was he doing with his paternal grandmother?
Well, his father lives in Dallas, Texas, and has since he was born. So she's in town, so she's able to watch him every now and then.
So let me understand this. On February 1st, the paternal grandmother of your child was helping out to babysit for your son, and you went out drinking and got blotto drunk with this guy. That's what you're telling me.
Correct, Your Honor.
Oh.
Well, all of it was wrong except I did get a DUI and I did drive from the bar.
And you were drunk?
Yes. But
and she was drunk?
She did have clozapines on her.
I don't know what that is, sir.
It's just a drug, like a painkiller or something. I woke up in jail 16 hours later and had no idea what happened. There was a message from her on my machine saying, where's my car, what happened to you? And she was in the car when the accident happened. My grandparents were the ones that picked me up in jail. They took me to Amber so I could tell Amber where her car was, because she didn't remember any of it.
Miss Brading, why do you think that I would give you any money?
He was the designated driver for that night. He lied about having a license.
Who cares? According to your complaint, which I read very carefully, you said that when you got to the first place where you were drinking, you saw him drinking, and you still got in the car with him. You should have taken your car keys and said, I'm leaving my car right here. I'm taking a cab home. You want to walk? That's up to you. But when you get too drunk to not know what you're doing, you can't do that. The insurance company paid what they were supposed to pay. They totaled your car. The fact that you owe $816, that's your problem. You don't let somebody who's drinking drive your car, and you don't drive your car. And you have to act responsibly. You have a child that's supposed to be taken care of. Case is dismissed. That's all.
All right, Judge, excuse me. Step out.
He's accusing me of poisoning, and that's supposedly how he got out of his DUI.
I had a couple buddies that were there that night that she was handing them out and said that they saw her put it in my drink.
He was incorrect about the medication I was on and the medication that he took out of my purse. It's Ativans.
She just admitted that she had something on her.
It was irresponsible hanging out with him. He's not a good influence.
I'd never want to see her again. I'll be happy with that.
I will not be hanging out with him any longer.
24-year-old Rachel Cooper is suing her daughter's great aunt, Felicia Lisa West, for an assault and for the value of a necklace.
Now, it's case number 81 on the calendar in the matter of Cooper versus West.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Cooper.
Yes.
Miss West is the paternal aunt of your baby.
Yes.
Who's the father of your baby?
He's sitting right there.
What's your name?
Thomas Robinson.
How old are you?
I'm 24.
Is this your only child?
Yes.
And since he's sitting over there, I assume you're not together?
No.
How old is your baby?
She's 6 months.
You have a drug problem?
No, I don't.
Have you used drugs?
Yeah, before I had my baby.
Have you used drugs after she was born?
No. I drank a little bit, but...
What was your drink of choice?
Remy.
Remy?
Yes. Remy Martin, cognac.
It's pretty heavy stuff, isn't it?
I guess, for my age.
Who do you live with?
I live with my mom now.
Who else lives with your mother?
My dad.
Your lawsuit alleges that Miss West was babysitting for your daughter. You went to get her. Miss West refused to give her to you, and she assaulted you. Miss West says that when you came to pick up your daughter, you had been drinking. She felt that the child was at risk. She refused to give you the child. She says that you, in fact, assaulted her. So when did Miss West start to babysit for your daughter?
This was January 2nd. This was the first time she has ever babysitted for me.
How old was your daughter at that time?
She was born in November, so about 1.5 months.
And why was Miss West babysitting for your daughter?
Because I figured the father's family never sees a baby, so I figured, let me give them a call so they could see her. So in turn, they came to pick me up, and she decided to watch the baby. She offered to take care of the baby.
All right. She said what to you?
She said, oh, I could watch her for you. You could go out and have a good time.
And did you do that?
Yes.
That was on January 2nd?
Yes.
What time?
This was probably in the evening around 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Good. When did you come back?
I came back the next day.
Where did you go that night?
I was with her niece, Katie, and Lisa's daughter, and some of her nieces.
Where did you sleep that night?
At her sister's house.
Okay, so the next day you came back on January the 3rd?
Yes.
What time?
I came back around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Go ahead.
So I went over there, was with my baby for that whole day.
Was Miss West at home?
Yes, she was at home.
Okay, keep going.
So, anyways, that same day, she ends up telling me that, it's time for me to go home. I said, okay. She says, but you could leave your baby here and I could watch her for you overnight. I said, oh, no, that's okay. I could go home. She said, are you sure you're going to be able to take care of the baby because you've been drinking? I said, of course I'll be able to take care of my baby. I'm fine.
Had you been drinking on the 3rd?
Yes, I was drinking a little bit. It was New Year's, so, yeah.
No, the 3rd is not New Year's.
Yeah.
New Year's is December 31st. The 3rd is not New Year's. On the 3rd of January, had you been drinking?
Yes.
What were you drinking? The Remy?
Yeah.
And then you wanted to take the baby home?
Yes, so.
And she said no.
She didn't want me to take my baby home. I said, well, can I stay here? She didn't want me to stay at her house. She's like, oh, I'll take care of her. She's like, don't worry about it. Go home and relax. She's like, because, you're a new mom and you do need a break, and Thomas is nowhere around to be found. He hasn't called or
keep going.
Anything.
Come on, move it.
So anyway, so I go home. She drops me off at home. My mom asks, where's the baby? So I said, oh, Lisa's taking care of her. She says, oh, really? So I said, would you like to call her? So she calls her, and Lisa gets on the phone and said, oh, well, do you want me to call CPS? And there's no reason to involve CPS for anything. I don't know why she said that. So we go pick up my daughter, and she doesn't know that I'm coming to pick up my daughter. I go in the house, and when I go in her bedroom, she's shocked to see me.
Who let you in?
Her husband let me in. So when I busted in the room, she was sitting with my baby. My baby was stuffed in her chest. She had a pillow behind her back, and she was sitting cross-legged. She said, what are you doing here? I said, give me my baby, Lisa. She snatched the baby. She said, no. I said, what do you mean? I can't have my baby? She said, no, do you want me to call CPS? I said, for what? Why are you going to call CPS for? So she refuses to give me my daughter. So I have to call my mom to tell my mom to come in the house saying she's not giving me my baby. So then she decides.
How did you get there?
My mom gave me a ride.
You mean your mother gave you a ride and then just dropped you off?
No, she was waiting outside for me.
Okay, go ahead.
So then she decides finally to give me my daughter. So my mom comes in the house, and I'm like, Mom, she's not letting me leave with my baby. She says, oh, no, don't let them leave. She was telling Katie and everybody in the house, don't let her leave, don't let her leave. So they block all possible entries so me and my mom cannot get out with my daughter. My baby started crying. My mom was holding the baby. So my mom said, oh, do you have a bottle so I could feed my granddaughter? Lisa's like, no, let me feed her. She tries to go to my mom and tries to tear my baby out of my mom's arms. So that's when I gave me to her. I'm like, what are you doing? No. So she comes back to me, grabs me by my jacket, and slams me all the way against the wall. Then she grabs me and slams me all the way down on the bathroom floor and starts choking me. It took 3 people to try to get her off of me. Her husband was in the kitchen, finally decides to get up to come get her off of me. And then she's still trying to fight. She's still trying to come attack me. And then when the police comes, she tells them that I attacked her, which was wrong.
Okay, Miss West, now I'll hear you.
Well, it started January the 1st. My niece and my daughter comes home with Rachel. My niece Katie tells me that Rachel called my daughter Caroline to pick her up from this hotel on West MacArthur.
Katie, stand up. Tell me what you saw when you got to the hotel.
Okay, Rachel was drinking with some guy, and the baby was just crying, and it just seemed like the baby...
How did you get to the hotel?
I drove.
Who had you heard from that caused you to go to the hotel?
My cousin.
Who were you in the hotel with?
I was with my friend. He was helping me.
What's his name?
His name is Jose.
And what were you drinking with Jose?
I'm drinking some Remy.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I took the baby from Rachel because she was crying. I rubbed her stomach. It seemed like she had colic. And I said, Rachel, do you burp your baby after you feed her? Rachel said, no, this is my first child. I really don't know what I'm doing. I said, you know what, Rachel, this don't make no sense. Give me this baby. Me and my cousins take the baby. We go get the baby some medication. Rachel is not even coherent enough to give her baby the medication.
Your Honor.
Put your hands down. I don't think you're adorable. I don't think you're cute. I'm going to hear from your mother because, quite frankly, unless your mother is totally together, I'm calling CPS on you. You understand that?
Yes.
You understand why?
Why?
Remy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She is incapable of taking care of a child.
I'm not capable.
Incapable. She has no judgment.
Bill Cooper says she was assaulted during a custody exchange by her daughter's great aunt, Felicia Lisa West. Felicia claims Rachel is an unfit mother and is countersuing also for assault.
Stand up. Who has legal custody of this child?
Rachel.
Well, that better change. That better change. She is in no position to have legal custody of this child. And unless somebody who's responsible has custody of this child, Child Protective Services is going to take the child and give the child to a stranger. Maybe to Miss West. Who knows? Your daughter is acting irresponsibly. Don't you understand that?
I do understand, but I do not understand the reason why Miss West had to assault her. That I don't understand.
Listen to me. I don't understand why you would allow your daughter, who was intoxicated, which she clearly was on the 3rd of January, to go back to Miss West's house and tell her to go inside and take the baby. If you felt as if you didn't want to leave the baby with Miss West and you wanted the baby to come home with you, then you go inside, and maybe you could have had a civilized discussion with Miss West. Instead, you send her inside, and she has no brain. I mean, didn't you hear what she said? This lady is telling me the truth. She went to a motel, found your daughter in a motel with your granddaughter crying, and she's sitting with some jerk drinking Remy.
No, Your Honor, my daughter was crying because I didn't know what was going on. I was holding my baby, Your Honor.
Because you didn't know that she needed to burp her.
Just a second. You didn't know what year it was,
I was burping my daughter, Your Honor.
What were you doing in a motel with a guy drinking Remy?
Because I was expecting to see if the father would call me on New Year's to come by. That's why I got the hotel room. I was with my friend. He was helping me take care of my baby instead of the father.
He was helping you by sitting with you in a motel drinking?
He was holding her, helping me, trying to calm her down too, Your Honor.
What's your last name?
Jimenez.
Miss Jimenez, do you get it? She is incapable of taking care of a child.
I'm not incapable.
Incapable.
My daughter is well taken care of.
She has no judgment. Zero judgment. And this baby is going to get hurt. Did you just hear what she said to me, Miss Jimenez? She said she took a motel room, hoping that the baby's father would call her on New Year's Eve. And later, she's still in the motel room with Jose, drinking Remy with the baby. Do you get it? You're shaking your head. The only reason you're off the hook is that there's not enough room for you up there.
Ma'am, she
Because
took
when
my
you make
child from me.
Because when you make a baby, you're supposed to be able to take care of a baby.
And I was. And I provided a roof over her head till she decided to take my baby and leave with
Then
everything.
you go to court.
And that's what I'm doing,
He hasn't
ma'am.
been doing
Good.
anything.
Then you go to court. What?
When I took her to pick the baby, she was not drunk.
She had been drinking all day. She said she had been drinking
I wasn't
all day.
drinking all day. That's when I was drinking during the daytime, Your Honor. Then I wanted to go home with my daughter. She told me I could stay at her house, but then refused for me not to stay at her house.
I heard you. Did you know where your daughter was on January 1st with the baby in the motel? Just answer my question. Did you know where your daughter was on January 1st in the motel?
Yes.
And you
But not in the motel, Your Honor. She was at home.
She was in a motel with Jose.
Then she went there because she
So
wanted
I'm asking you, listen, I'm asking you, did you know that she was in a motel with Jose?
I did not know until afterwards.
That's what I want to know. Does it surprise you to know she was in a motel with Jose drinking?
I was surprised to know that she was
all
there.
I want. That's all I want to know. So far, maybe there's a light at the end of your tunnel. Maybe.
Your Honor, I'm a very good mom. I'm a very good mom. My daughter does not want for anything. She's well taken care of.
Listen
That
to
was
me.
just that
Miss
one
West,
night.
Did you call CPS?
Yes, I did.
Did they do an investigation?
The person that was doing the investigation got sick, and I called and talked to the person that took over the case. They've been trying to contact and locate Rachel, which they have been unsuccessfully at.
Is she living in your house?
Yes.
Did she sleep at your house last week? Listen, Miss Jimenez, you answer my question.
Yes.
Did she sleep at your house every night last week?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe her?
I don't believe you.
I'm at my house every single day, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm not comfortable. So we're going to send this to Child Protective Services, just to be on the safe side, because I'm not hearing any reasoned response by this lady to her daughter's behavior. Drunk people don't take care of children. People who drink don't take care of children. They leave them with other responsible people. And if they don't leave them with other responsible people, then they're neglectful.
I am not a neglectful mother.
No,
I was only drinking for that one day, Your Honor. I don't drink every single day.
Well, listen to me, my dear.
But
I'm speaking to you. According to you, I only asked you about 3 days, January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And according to your testimony, you drank on January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd. That's according to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mother said, I'm leaving, we leaving. So Rachel was behind me, and she said, no, get away from my baby. Get away from, I'm taking my baby. And popped me upside the head.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rachel Cooper is accusing her daughter's great-aunt, Felicia Lisa West, of assaulting her during a custody exchange.
Now, you say that she assaulted you?
Yes.
Tell me what she did.
First of all, when we all decided on January the 2nd that Rachel was still under the influence of alcohol and other substance abuse, we all decided that Rachel needed a little bit more time to get herself together. Therefore, my husband and I told Rachel we'd be more than happy to watch her until she get herself together.
You mean watch the baby?
The child, yes. So Rachel said, but I want to stay. I said, well, Rachel, you can't stay because I don't have enough room to house you. So my husband and I drove her home. So that was that. So my husband and I proceeded back home, got home. Then she had called and said, I want to come and get my baby. I said, let me speak to your mother. So her mother got on the phone. I said, well, the baby is fine. I said, she's asleep, and David and I, which is my husband, is going to take care of the child. Then the mother said, no, the baby needs to be home with Rachel. No, Rachel needs to take care of her own baby. But I said, but Rachel's not in any condition at this time. I said, you really need to pay attention to your daughter. I said, take this time to really analyze your daughter. She said, well, it's nothing wrong with her. I said to myself, well, she's a fool. I said, Rachel is on drugs. I just came out and told the mother. The mother said, oh, that's what you say. Then she hung up the phone.
Okay, there came a time that she came back to your house. Her mother brought her there. Now I want to skip to that point.
Okay, when Rachel came to my house, I was in my bedroom. The baby was asleep, and Rachel came in there. I want my baby. I said, Rachel, I made it perfectly clear you're not in any conditions to see to this child. I said, you've been drinking for the last 3 days, and you've been smoking weed, crystal, what they call mushrooms. I said, you really need to just calm down, get yourself together. She said, no, give me my baby, give me my baby. I said, Rachel, I can't give you your baby. I said, anyway, how did you get here? She said, my mother brought me. I said, well, I need to talk to your mother then. So I told my husband, David, to go out there and see was her mother actually out there. Then Rachel would say, no, just give me my baby, just give me my baby. I said, Rachel, I'm here to help you. I don't want to call the police and report you to CPS. I said, you're not leaving me any alternative. At that point, her mother came in. Then I gave her the baby. Then I talked to her mother, Tina. I said, Rachel is not in any condition to provide for this child. But if you tell me that you're going to take care of this baby and be solely responsible for this child, I can give the child to you. Then she said, well, that's Rachel's responsibility. I'll help her. I said, oh, no. I said, you're going to tell me you're going to help her? I said, she can't help herself at this time. So mother said, I'm leaving, we leaving. Then I said, no, you have to wait for the police. So Rachel was behind me. And she said, no, get away from my baby. Get away from, I'm taking my baby. And popped me upside the head.
She's lying, Your Honor.
I don't want to hear you.
So I said, you have to stay for the police. So then she bopped me again. I said, now, wait a minute. Are you fighting? And then she just took off, and I said, I just had gastric bypass surgery. I'm not strong, and she just commenced on. So, hey, I'm going to defend my stomach and everything.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of an assault? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Miss Cooper, you know what a hair follicle test is?
What's that? Oh, they pick the hair.
Yeah. We take a piece of your hair, and the hair will tell us whether, in the past year, you have used any drugs, because it remains in the hair shaft, and if you've used alcohol, how much. You prepared to take a hair follicle test?
I feel that there's no reason to
You
take
prepared? My question is, that requires a yes or a no answer. You say that you did not use drugs, and you don't have an alcohol problem. So my question to you is, are you prepared to take a hair follicle test that requires a yes or a no answer?
No, I'm not going to take a hair
follicle
test. For what?
Correct.
I'm here for the fact that this woman assaulted me.
I don't believe she assaulted you.
She did assault me, Your Honor. This woman is lying through her teeth, Your Honor.
Miss Cooper, now your mother knows. If I said to you, Miss Jimenez, I have serious questions as to whether or not you abused drugs, and I can find that out very easily. Are you prepared to give us a strand of hair so we can do a hair follicle test? What would you say to me?
Yes.
Of course. What did your daughter say to me?
She said no.
Do you know why? I've been in this business for 40 years. I know why.
But Your
Copy of
Honor...
that. I'm speaking. Copy of this case will be sent to Child Protective Services. Your lawsuit is dismissed. So's your counterclaim. You would not have filed this counterclaim unless you filed the lawsuit, correct?
Correct.
We'll take care of what you wanted to do, which is at least try to have this baby protected. Child Protective Services will do a follow-up now that she's declined to take a test. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand? Now, I don't know what you do, but you got to get more together and you got to get involved. It's not up to her to take over your responsibility.
I ain't seen
That's
my
all.
baby
He doesn't take care of his child.
She took my baby.
Oh, whatever. Good. Piece of...
She took my baby.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Justice has not been served, but God will take care of her.
Most of all, I was very pleased, and I thank God for her seeing how the mother was in denial.
I see that she takes good care of the baby. You should see the baby. It's a beautiful baby.
I haven't seen my child since she was 4 weeks old. I provided a roof over Rachel's head. She didn't have to pay no bills.
Yeah, I've been drinking probably like day before yesterday, 3 days ago, but my daughter's well taken care of. I'm not an alcoholic.
Rachel she not a good mother.
Now I'm gonna put it in God's hands and pray on it and do the best that I can to get my baby and raise my child.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Guerriero versus Chase. Step forward.
Stephen Guerriero is suing the mother of his daughter, Joanne Chase, for a loan to move. Stephen says Joanne took the money but never moved.
Mr. Guerriero, you and Miss Chase have a 12-year-old daughter together.
That's correct.
The child is currently in your custody.
Yes.
And has been so for the last year.
Year and a half.
Year and a half. It is your claim that you made a loan to Miss Chase at a time when she was in need, and you want that money back. The loan was $1,000. Miss Chase acknowledges that you gave her $1,000 about a year and a half ago. You'll give me the exact date, but she said the money was not given as a loan. It was given in order to protect your daughter, who was then living in an unhealthy situation with Miss Chase and her husband. Why did you need money, Miss Chase?
Because I needed to move out of my home that I was living in to get my own apartment with my daughter.
What did you say to him when you called him?
I asked him to loan me $1,000 to move out, to get my own apartment, which he wasn't happy with me living with my husband. So I asked him to loan me the money, and on contingency of us selling our home, I would pay him back.
Well, when did you add this little contingency?
When I asked
Look
him...
at me. Don't look on the floor.
I'm sorry.
And, certain things make sense and certain things don't. So, Ms. Chase, make sure you don't tell me anything that doesn't make sense, because if it doesn't make sense, it's not true.
He knew that I was going to be selling...
Don't tell me what he knew. I just want to hear what was said.
Okay. I asked him to loan me the $1,000 and that I would pay him back as long as I sold my home.
Did she say to you, can you loan me $1,000 until I sell the house?
That's partially correct, Your Honor.
Okay. She said, until I sell the house.
Well, there was a contingency made after I reluctantly gave her the money, and I did give her the money, of course, because the daughter's safety was at hand. The first thing was if she sold the house, I would give the money in full. If she didn't sell the house, then once she got on her feet and got everything straightened out, she'd make payments, and I was fine with that, even if it was $5 a week.
Sounds reasonable. So, you gave her the $1,000, you moved out.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Well, she didn't move out. That was the issue at hand.
Why didn't you move out?
I did move out.
When?
It wasn't right then, but it was within 6 months. I did. I
Well,
had a
what'd you do with the $1,000 for 6 months?
I used it to move out, but it was just, I had to wait. My children were in school. I had 3 girls.
No, they
who went
weren't
to
in school in July. 6 months later, they were in school, but they weren't
right.
in school
and
in
it
July.
there was a lot of things that were going on that I couldn't just move out at the current time that he had just given me the money.
What did you do with the money? Is my question, Ms. Chase.
Well, I did use it to move out, but it wasn't right
You mean
that
you held
month
on
in
to it
July.
and put it in a bank account and held on to it for 6 months?
No, I didn't put it in a bank account.
So what'd you do with the money?
I guess I saved it at the house.
So, why don't you pay him back?
Because I didn't sell my house.
And what are you doing now?
I live by myself and I work.
Good. Pay him back.
I don't have it. I'm not in any financial position to pay him back.
When he was paying child support to you, how much was he paying you?
I don't even remember.
He does.
It was $52 a week, Your Honor. And I'm receiving $11.50 a week from Miss Chase, which she's a little bit behind.
When he was paying you $52 a week, did you think that that was enough to help support your daughter?
No.
I thought that that was nothing. $11.50 is even less.
Correct, but he should get a job. I mean, he doesn't work.
He's not living on your $11.50 a week.
Well, then he should get a job.
Well, he's living somehow.
Yeah, on Social Security.
That's not your problem. That's the government's problem if they're giving him Social Security.
Right, but I mean, I work and I also, struggle myself to get child support from my daughter's father.
What does that have to do with the $1,000 you borrowed from him?
I don't know. It's just hard because I do waitress and I have to, work or else I can't pay my bills.
Right. You also have to pay back money that he loaned you. I have no idea what you did with the $1,000, but you certainly didn't use it to move out. I don't believe that you saved it, and I don't believe that you hid it in some cookie jar or some coffee can in your house until you were ready to use it.
No, I didn't, but I did use it, towards moving out when I did move out.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't have to get into any more of this sad tale. Suffice it to say, you owe him $1,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Why are you excused when they step out?
Oh, thank God for Judge Judy. I think she made the right call.
He doesn't have anything better to do during the day than, strum up ideas to ways to get money because he doesn't have a, job.
I had a lot of evidence I wanted to bring up, but I didn't want to interject and have Judge Judy yell at me, so I kept my mouth shut.
Mary Perkins is suing her former tenant, 19-year-old Ashley Hoskins, for unpaid rent and for burning down her house.
Now, this is case number 93 on the calendar in the matter of Perkins versus Hoskins.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Ms. Perkins, according to your complaint, you rented a property that you own to the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
Your lawsuit says that she owes you for some rent. She owes you for some damage she did to the property.
Yes, ma'am.
She owes you for property that was destroyed that you brought into the house after she moved out in order to fix up the house. You believe she's responsible for the house being burned to the ground. Ms. Hoskins says that she's not responsible for the house being destroyed, that you and your grandson harassed her and her boyfriend. She's counterclaiming because she says she was forced to move. How did you find her as a tenant?
I have a letter from one of her kin people, from Nadine. She's not kin to me. She's kin to my sister, not me.
Is this Nadine someone that you knew?
Yes, I've known Nadine since she was a little girl. She's the best friend of my daughter's.
And Nadine told you about Miss Hoskins?
Mm-hmm. She told me that she had a little baby, and her husband was in jail, and she desperately needed somewhere to live.
What's he in prison for?
He's in prison for, he's got numerous, indictments on for firearms.
How long is he in prison for?
5.5 years.
All right, so, Ms. Perkins, when did she start the lease with you?
Okay, got that too.
Questions are going to get harder, Ms. Perkins. I wish you had this information at your fingertips. When she started the lease, when she moved out, because you say that she owes you for rent. You moved in when, Ms. Hoskins?
The beginning of May of 2005.
And when did you move out?
The beginning of March 2006.
She moved out March the 4th.
Okay, and what months do you claim she did not pay rent?
She never paid February's or March. She paid part of January. And I took her to court, and the judge said that she was supposed to pay $140, which she owed me for that, plus the $38 for the court cost.
How much was the rent, $375?
$375 plus late charges on all of them.
Quiet.
Man, we went to court over the $140.
And what happened?
And I got a judgment against me.
So you got a judgment against you.
Yeah.
Did you ever pay her the $140?
No, I haven't got a chance.
All right, fine. So that's $140 and $375 for the month of February. You did live in the house in February, according to you.
Yes,
Did you pay her February's
No,
rent?
I didn't.
Fine. Now, what kind of damage do you allege, Ms. Perkins, that she caused to the house?
Okay, this is the damage to the house, the pictures. This is the one from the fire itself.
I don't want to see the fire itself. I want to
Okay.
see the damage to the house. Are you showing me, are you sure you're giving me the right pictures?
Yeah, the ones with the, there's a few holes in the walls. Stove is dented in with no knobs.
Was this before or after the fire?
That was before the fire. But see, I never got any pictures taken because before I could do that...
Were these pictures taken before or after the fire?
After the fire.
Well, that's what I asked you, so just answer my question, because it looks as if they were taken after a fire.
They were taken after the fire to try to pick up parts of the holes and stuff that she had made before the fire.
Okay. Who are you?
Detective Roland Grimm.
Step up, please.
I have an inspection where I called code enforcement on the house, and this is a list of all the things that she had a certain amount of days to fix all the things that were wrong with the house.
Listen to me. If you don't like where you're living, it's a free country. You take your baby and you move out. But you don't stay at the place and not pay rent and complain about it. That's just my idea of America. You don't like where you live? Move. All right, Detective, were you assigned to investigate the fire at this house?
The arson, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and it was determined to be arson.
Yes, it was.
So tell me what you know.
The problem with this case was that Miss Perkins only cooperated with the police up to a certain point and then stopped cooperating.
In what respect, Detective?
She came in to speak with me for an interview, and I explained to her that I did follow up on all the leads that she had given me in reference to her stating that the defendants made mention that they would burn the house down.
This gentleman?
Yes, Mr. Lopez and the defendant, they did have an alibi. I checked that. They were already moved out of Miss Perkins' residence. They were moving into their new apartment that whole weekend, and I spoke with family members about that. None of the neighbors saw the defendant or Mr. Lopez in the area. The only people that they did see was Miss Perkins and her daughter. There was no forced entry into the residence.
But you had insufficient evidence, I assume, to charge anyone for the arson.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it still being investigated?
It is suspended at this time unless more evidence comes forth. Miss Perkins originally stated that she would take a polygraph. She brought that up to me. When one was set up, she declined to speak with me any further and obtained an attorney.
And the defendant?
The defendants were very cooperative. They advised me that they would if Miss Perkins would take a polygraph, which at that time I deemed was fair.
Okay. Yes.
I declined because I went in his office and he talked to me and he sat there and told me that his opinion was that I either started the fire or paid somebody to do it. And I got up from there and went straight to my lawyer, Homolides. And Homolides says, do not take a polygraph test. It doesn't show anything at all. We've been trying to get him, the police, and everybody to take fingerprints off the kerosene can. They've got a picture of it in here that has not been moved. Fingerprints help a case, not lie detector test. He would not do it.
There were numerous fire personnel inside the residence at the time of the fire, and it was handled.
Well, it can be handled, Detective, but certainly there would have been no basis for either the defendant's prints or her boyfriend's prints to be on that can.
From what I understand, that can had been there previously to the fire.
Not when they were living there.
No.
Because according to Ms. Perkins, according to her complaint, she purchased some things, including this gasoline, left it in the bathtub after the defendant moved out. And even the defendant and her boyfriend, unbeknownst to you, but they shook their head no, because you said the can was there, they acknowledged that the can was not there when they were living there. So that certainly forensically would seem to me, listen, that's not my field of expertise, but I watch enough CSI to know that that kind of forensic examination is something that would be reasonable and admissible. Not only reasonable, but admissible. So if their fingerprints are on it, a bell would go off in your head because it wasn't there when they were living there. So either the stork would have brought their prints to this can, or it was there as a result of their being there prior to the arson.
Yes, ma'am.
It's still there.
It's still there. It's still locked up. Same place.
Still there, still locked up. So why don't we go get it?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She had like on the arson,
just a
she
second,
had on.
just a second. Do you want to say something to me?
Yes.
Can you look as if you're interested
Yes,
and sit up?
yes.
Good.
And later today,
Eventually, I told him, listen, just stop. Just go away, bother somebody else. And finally, it got to a point where I just said, listen, shut your mouth if you know it's good for you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Perkins says former tenant Ashley Hoskins owes for rent and for damaging her home. Ashley is countersuing for harassment.
Now, so far, Ms. Perkins, the defendant owes you $515 for rent. She's not going to give you any money for damaging the house because I'm not going to make a judgment with regard to this arson because of my lack of evidence as to who started this fire. If he doesn't know who started the fire...
I have a witness. It's not here, but I do have a...
If you have a witness, bring the witness to the detective. That has nothing to do with me.
I have called and told him all about it, and he just ignores it. And I also called the insurance company and told them all about it. They were very interested.
You have given that name to him?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and you have or have not interviewed that witness?
I just received that information before I came here.
Well, then I'm sure you'll be doing that right
Yes,
after
ma'am.
you get the can examined by your own forensic unit. Okay, now, Ms. Perkins, so listen to me carefully. $515 is what she owes you for rent. Now, Ms. Hoskins, you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim is for harassment.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to tell me what that harassment was, Detective? You may be seated. Thank you for coming.
Yes, ma'am. There's numerous times that she came over and harassed me. She got her grandson to break into both of my vehicles. And
I want you to be quiet.
I have the court papers saying that he pled guilty and...
May I see it, please?
And he was living with her at the time.
Your grandson pled guilty to these charges?
Not to my knowledge. And he wasn't living with me at that time. He was living with his mother.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't make a difference where he was living. Now, it is clear that the grandson, whichever grandson this is, pled guilty to breaking into these two vehicles. Now, this is your problem, Ms. Haskins. You have to connect the dots. Connecting the dots means that you have to connect Ms. Perkins to her grandson's behavior. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you do that?
He lives with her.
Who cares?
It don't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. Don't matter, and it doesn't matter.
I mean, she had like on
Just
the
a second.
arson,
Just a
she
second.
had on.
Just a second. Do you want to say something to me?
Yes.
Can you look as if you're interested
Yes,
and sit up?
yes.
Good.
Yeah. All right, she had till the 27th to fix everything in the house.
Not interested in that. Not
Okay,
interested.
but
Listen to me.
She's telling us
Listen,
we burn down
listen.
the house and we gotta sit here like this.
I don't ask you to do anything, sir. All I ask is whether you had proof that her grandson, at her request, did damage to your property. The fact that her grandson lived with her is irrelevant.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you again. The defendant has no such proof.
Okay.
Do you?
No.
Sit.
All right.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $515. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Her grandson was living in her garage, and he wanted us to get out. So did she, so she didn't have to have him living in her garage, and he could come and live in the apartment.
Oh, that's a lie.
This whole thing is crazy, man.
I'm getting out of the landlord. I don't care to ever rent.
All I can say is what comes around goes around, and God will handle her. God doesn't like ugly.
28-year-old Nicole St. Marie is suing ex-fiancé Michael Diaz for the cost to pay off his attorney fees.
Come to order, all rise. Now, this is case number 14 on the calendar in the matter of St. Marie versus Diaz.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Miss St. Marie, you and Mr. Diaz lived together for how long?
Roughly about 3.5 years.
And at some point, I gather, you purchased a home.
Yes, I did.
When?
I purchased a home in October of '01. I bought it on my own.
Just a second. Were you dating at that point?
Yes, we were.
Okay. When you purchased the home, where had you been living just prior to that?
Prior to that, in an apartment with my son.
Not with him?
No.
Now, when you purchased the house in October of 2001, did Mr. Diaz move in with you?
Yes, he did.
So that was the plan?
Yes.
And you put down the down payment on the house?
Yes, I did.
Fine. Was Mr. Diaz working?
Yes, he was.
What kind of work were you doing in 2001, sir?
At that point in time, I was a fire life safety supervisor.
You earning a living?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
You were contributing to the household?
Absolutely.
How much?
Everything was halfway down the line.
Is that right?
No, it's not.
What wasn't?
He paid me rent, half.
Just a second. He paid you how much a month?
He paid me roughly $650 a month in rent.
Actually, I have receipts.
Just a second, Miss St. Marie. I will categorize it as whatever I want to categorize it as. I know you're going to say rent from today till tomorrow.
Yes.
You were living together. You were sharing a bedroom.
Yes.
You were sharing a life together.
Yes.
All right. So don't categorize it as rent. He was contributing to the household, according to you, $650 a month. Would he give that to you by check or cash?
By check.
Were you doing anything else in the household other than contributing this $650 a month?
Yes, ma'am. The amount does exceed $650, which I do have all the receipts on.
I'd like to see it, please. The reason for these questions will become clear, Ms. St. Marie, because it is your claim that during the course of the relationship, Mr. Diaz had some difficulty with ex-wife over child support.
It was actually child custody, ma'am.
Or child custody, whatever it was. And you needed a lawyer. And according to you, Ms. St. Marie, you loaned him the money for a lawyer.
No, I did not.
Well, in effect, you did, because you went to the lawyer, you co-signed for him to get a lawyer, and he ended up not paying, so you paid the lawyer.
Correct.
And you want him to reimburse you.
Correct.
And that was, I think, $3,500?
Correct.
He paid you some?
None.
Okay. And when was that?
That was this past December.
Okay, so you actually lived in the house for about 4.5 years.
No. He moved out in November of '04, but we were still seeing each other up until April of '05.
Did you move out in November of 2004, sir?
I'm not exactly sure the date, but I know it was roughly in that time frame. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I've got the...
Shh.
Yes, ma'am.
How much, Miss St. Marie, was your mortgage on your house?
It was roughly about $1,470.
Okay. Let me tell you what his defense is. His defense is that when you moved into the house together, while the house was purchased by you, he was making half the mortgage payment on the house, which clearly I have checks here which amount to half the mortgage payment. And it was your agreement that if anything happened between the two of you, that he was reducing your mortgage so that he would get some benefit from that should you sell the house. That's your defense, really.
Yes, ma'am.
So you walked away from the relationship without anything. You sold the house. What did you purchase the house for? What amount?
$165.
And what did you sell the house for?
$350.
So you had a healthy profit.
Yes.
When did you sell the house?
November of '04.
Right after he moved out.
That's why he moved out. I was trying to end the relationship for a very long time.
Oh, okay. He moved out when
And
you
he wouldn't
sold.
leave.
Just a second. He moved out when you sold the house.
Correct.
Okay. Did you have a discussion with him at that time about any profits from the house?
No.
That's a farce.
Well, tell me about the conversations, Mr. Diaz.
Our initial agreement when we bought that house was bought under her name.
Her name.
But both of our incomes at that time. It was a stated income. So they asked for my income paperwork as well.
Excuse me,
okay.
Judge, that's
Okay. I moved out of my apartment. I moved into the apartment with her because she had a large apartment with her son. And then from there, we moved into the house. From that point on, I paid halfway down the line. The house needed a ton of work. I'm well versed in all matters, as far as contracts.
I see that you paid for half the mortgage, sir.
The other checks that are at a different angle, ma'am, are also showing that I also paid for some of the electrical bills. And if you look, the writing is very neat. She physically wrote those checks out. I just signed my name to them. And it also states on those gas, water, trash bills, whatever.
You wrote out all these checks?
If my name's on, if it's in my writing, then yeah, I did.
Right. You wrote out all these checks.
For the most part, ma'am, anytime she needed something, she would fill them out.
City of Long Beach. Who lives in Long Beach?
That's where our home was.
Our residence was in the city of Long Beach at the time.
Okay. Verizon, City of Long Beach, half the house payment. This is in your handwriting.
Yeah, but how long do those go on for? Because
they go
for
on
3.5 years, it was like pulling teeth to get money from him.
Whether it was pulling teeth or not. Listen, Ms. St. Marie, he does not have a counterclaim, but what he's saying is you had an agreement, and your agreement was that he was contributing to the household, and you were putting money into an account. So you were clearly taking the money that you wrote on his personal checks and putting it into your account.
But does he include the fact that I had credit card bills and stuff that were used for getting Christmas gifts for his son, to do birthday parties, to anything that we ever did together that went on my credit cards? I had credit card bills, but you don't see anything there that he's paying for my credit card bills.
Well,
he's
I don't know if
helping
he
out
had,
with
just
utilities.
a second. I don't know if he had any credit cards.
He doesn't.
Actually, I don't. I try to keep things, on the,
Because his credit's
paid
horrible.
it straight across.
That's why.
If you look,
That's why he couldn't get his name on the
Chrysler
house.
automobile.
she does. That was for when she got a car. I gave $1,000 down for the car.
Okay, and I put $2,500 down on your car.
Is that right?
I think it actually was $2,000.
No.
And I paid back a portion of that.
Where is your check for that?
For the paybacks?
Yeah.
I think it might have been cash or whatnot. I don't.
Now I
honestly
don't
have
believe
it.
you. Now you're talking through your hat.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You wanted him out. The relationship was over. You sold the house and gave him nothing.
Yeah, because
so what
I
he's
was
saying,
scared for my safety. That's why I left.
I don't care whether you were fearing for your safety or not. We're talking business here.
And later today,
Under no theory of law that I know of is a car for a 17-year-old a necessity. That's what they have legs for.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nicole St. Marie says ex-fiancé Michael Diaz owes for attorney fees. Michael says Nicole kept the proceeds from the sale of their house.
And Mr. Diaz, I want you to tell me, sir, about this lawyer. What did you need a lawyer for?
I needed a lawyer because she sat there and she said I shouldn't have to put up with that kind of thing. She'd already gone through something similar with her son and her son's father. So we went in. I proceeded with the court case. She went in with me from the very beginning. She said she would help me out along the lines.
Just a second.
Okay,
Did you sign for the lawyer?
We both actually signed for the lawyer.
I didn't ask you that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign for the lawyer?
Yes, I did.
So it was your obligation.
Yes, it was my obligation.
It was your obligation. It was
Yes,
your
ma'am.
kid,
Yes, ma'am.
your custody, your lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
You signed for it, but the lawyer wasn't satisfied with just your signature, Mr. Diaz.
No, ma'am.
Wanted somebody to co-sign.
And why?
Which she readily
Just
agreed
a
to.
second. Not speaking to you. I don't think that he totally played it fair with him, quite honestly. I don't. His only problem is he doesn't have a countersuit. If he had a countersuit, I might deal with this differently, because I do believe that when you moved in together, you had an arrangement, and your arrangement was that you were treating this house as your joint property, even though it was only in your name, that he was giving you half the mortgage payment. You signed for half the mortgage payment. When you wrote out the checks are in your handwriting, not rent. It doesn't say rent, Miss St. Marie. It says half the mortgage payment. So I believe that that was your agreement. I don't know why he failed to pursue that when you sold the house and doubled your money.
I just wanted to wash my hands of it, ma'am.
Okay. He wanted out, and he said, listen, she got a good profit for the house.
That's why I have something that said he didn't want to leave.
Whether he didn't want to leave or not, that doesn't make any difference, madam. You're not following what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you had an agreement with him. And your agreement was, even though the house was in your name because he had clearly lousy credit, I'm glad you finished my sentence, that you had an agreement with him, and your agreement was that you were going to build a life together. If you ever broke up or sold the house, you would do something with the profits from this house because you were equally putting in money and reducing the mortgage. And you chose not to do that. You wanted him out. The relationship was over. You sold the house and gave him nothing.
Yeah, because
so what
I
he's
was
saying,
scared for my safety. That's why I left.
I don't care whether you were fearing for your safety or not. We're talking business here. And the business is you had an agreement with him, which I believe you did, to give him some of the proceeds of the house because he was contributing to the house. According to you, he's paying half the mortgage payment. You sold that house and you doubled your money and you gave him nothing. So he's saying, well, I got nothing out of the time that I was living there, so she should pay the $3,500 for my lawyer. Mr. Diaz, if you had filed a counterclaim or if you did something positively in 2004 to pursue your claim, you might have a leg to stand on. You chose not to do that. So you can't come in as a Johnny-come-lately and say, well, going back 2 years now, she should have given me some of the money from the house, and I'm going to write off the lawyer. The lawyer was your responsibility. She paid for the lawyer, for your child, for your custody case, with a promise by you to pay the lawyer. You chose not to do that and to obligate her to do that. You cannot do that, sir.
I paid the majority of the lawyer, ma'am. The
Show me.
additionals.
Can I add to that? The reason why I co-signed was because I was asked to. I've never had an attorney before.
Show me your payment to the lawyer.
At the time, I was refinancing my current house.
Show me.
So my mother
Show
paid.
me the payment that you made to his lawyer.
There's one that my mother did because I was refinancing, and a check that I wrote my mother back for it when my refinance was over.
What's your lawyer's name, sir?
Judy.
That's it. Well, clearly, she paid the lawyer $3,500 in order to settle this claim.
The agreement was between them was actually $1,700.
You have a copy of the agreement you signed? I'd like to see it.
All I have is them saying that I fulfilled my judgment
No,
and
I
one
want
from
to
the
see.
court.
I want to see the copy of the agreement.
I have these, and it says that it was a higher amount at the time, and we settled so I could get my name off of it and get it taken care of.
I want to see what you signed.
This is right here, North City pre-mediation agreement, and then these as well are also part of it. I think the lawyer kept a lot of the initial paperwork.
Well, you got a judgment against you, $46.88.
That's why we settled in mediation, because I couldn't have a judgment on my case. That's something that would have followed me around for a long time.
All right, so you settled for $3,500.
Correct.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,500. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm a woman that loves kids. I wanted to take care of him. We were engaged to be married.
The engagement fell through because she is someone that is insecure and has multiple issues.
He also had domestic violence against him.
It's a lie. It's a blatant lie.
And he was also verbally and physically abusive with me.
I am not the person she played me out to be.
I just couldn't handle it anymore, and I wanted me and my son out.
I've got letters and up to, the last 6 months that, saying that she still wanted me back.
Everything that he's done to take advantage of women and get them to pay for his bills, I hope that one day that all comes around and kicks him.
Barbara Zeraldo is suing her daughter and son-in-law, Lisa and Raymond LaChance, for overdraft charges on their linked bank accounts.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 13 on the calendar in the matter of Zeraldo versus LaChance. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Zeraldo, this is your daughter and her husband?
Yes, it is.
And this is your granddaughter?
Yes, it is.
Clearly, from what I've read, you adore your granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
The first part of your lawsuit says that you loaned your daughter money to have your granddaughter's hair done for something and she didn't pay you back. That was a while ago. I'm not dealing with that because of the second part of your lawsuit. Because the second part of your lawsuit says that you opened up a bank account for your granddaughter.
That's right, yes.
And you put some money in it, and that bank account was linked to your account.
Yes, it was.
And you gave her a bank card.
Yes.
So that when she needed money for things, she could go in and take out some money from the bank card.
Yes.
And at some point, someone overdrew that bank account, and they charged the linked account, which was yours.
Yes.
And you believe that your daughter should be responsible for that because she's the child's mother.
Yes, I do.
Who asked you to open this account for your granddaughter?
No one did. My daughter and her husband have gone through a lot of financial difficulty, and I know it's been very hard. So last September, I decided to open a bank account for Tasha so I could transfer money into her account when she needed it for things like lunch money or if she needed clothes or any emergency, as I felt she was at the age that she did need this extra money.
Oh, that's very nice of you, Miss Zeraldo. That's just a second.
Okay, sorry.
That's lovely of you. You tell your granddaughter, if you need money for clothes, you call Grandma.
That's right.
And I'll tell you to come on over, and I'll give you $20, $50, whatever you need. I want you to have it within reason.
Yes.
You live close by?
No, we don't. That's why I opened the account. And
How far away do you live?
35 miles.
Not the other end of the world. How often do you see your granddaughter?
Not as often as I'd like to.
Well, I understand that not
yes.
as often as you like. How often do you see her?
Maybe once every 2 months.
Okay. Sit down, please. I want your daughter up, please. What happened to the money, Tasha? Part of the thing that your grandmother is complaining about, my dear, is that she didn't receive a satisfactory explanation. See how red you're getting? It's going to be all over after today. Now you're going to tell me how that money got taken out of your grandmother's account. Your grandmother and you are going to be friends after today. She knows she made a mistake. Well, if she doesn't know it, I'm telling her that she made a mistake by giving a 15-year-old an ATM card, access to money. I wouldn't do it. They don't know what they're doing. They'll go and buy drugs. They'll go and buy things that our parents have no control over. Ridiculous. How did the account get overdrawn?
The night that...
Look at me right here.
The night that this must have happened, I was babysitting. And I lost my bank card on the Friday before that Sunday because I get off school early.
Did you tell your grandmother you lost the bank card?
No, because I thought maybe I would have found it or called the bus line and they might have found it or something.
What else did you lose other than the bank card?
Just some pictures and stuff that were in my wallet.
Did you lose your whole wallet?
Yes.
The whole wallet?
Yeah.
Did you report the wallet stolen to anyone?
Just I called the bus line and asked if they had found one.
Did you go and file a report anywhere?
Yes, at the police station.
Did the police report indicate that there was a bank card in there?
I told them that my bank card was in there.
Did you tell your parents that the bank card was in there?
Yes.
Did she?
Yes.
Did you tell your grandmother that the bank card was stolen?
No, because I didn't find out that somebody had done that to my bank, maybe a couple days after.
That's why you call her and say, please call and cancel the bank card.
I called and canceled the bank card.
You did?
Yes.
When?
Sunday night, because I figured if I didn't find it, then somebody might have done something with it, so I didn't want
When was the
anything
money
back.
taken out?
I don't know.
Before or after?
The Saturday.
Before?
Yes, before she reported the card gone. Yes.
Yeah. The only problem with your story, my dear, is that somebody had your PIN number.
I don't give out my PIN number at all.
Somebody had your PIN number, what?
Well, since she's done this, we've found out her PIN number. Sorry, since this has happened, we found out her PIN number. She never told us her PIN number. We didn't know it before the incident happened. We since have known what her PIN number was, and it wasn't the best choice of PIN numbers.
Which was?
Her birth year. So again, a 15-year-old...
And I had my wallet information in there that had that and my phone number and
Again,
stuff.
a 15-year-old not making a very good choice of a
Your
of a
PIN
PIN card.
number was 6 digits?
4 digits. She was born in 1990.
Ah, so that was your PIN number.
Hers, yes. Not a
Not
very smart choice. No.
That's why we don't do that, Miss Geraldo.
Well, the bank, that's why they're holding me responsible, because she used
Somebody
her birth date
had
as
a PIN number.
You're not allowed to use your birth date as a PIN number.
Okay, now...
So they won't take responsibility. They say it's mine. I have to say
It is yours.
Yes.
It is yours. It's yours for giving a 15-year-old access to money, and it's your fault that it wasn't reported quickly enough when it first happened.
The only way I found out what was happening was the way I did the money. I would transfer it online for her, just $20 at a time. That's all she had access to. And I did it online. When I went online 2 days after this incident happened, I suddenly noticed this account was $500 overdrawn.
Mr. Geraldo, what you just said to me is ludicrous. If she only had access to $20 at a time, how come you were overdrawn $500?
Because what happened was whoever did this put an empty envelope with a note in it. The note said, F you back, and put it in the bank machine, then withdrew the $500.
Miss Geraldo,
yes.
I have 11 grandchildren, and I guarantee you that I love each and every one of them as much as you love Tasha. Yes. I wouldn't think of giving them a credit card at 15. No. I wouldn't think of giving them a bank account with access to money, because when they're 15 years old, they're stupid. They don't make good choices.
No, you're right, they don't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Either her friends, or whatever. Right?
And later today...
A Tuesday at 11. Is that your day off?
No, ma'am. I was laid off from work.
So why weren't you out collecting cans?
Says her granddaughter, 15-year-old Tasha LaChance, is responsible for overdraft charges on their linked bank accounts. Tasha claims her ATM card was stolen.
I'm telling you right now that your mother is not responsible for this. So if you think she is, you are mistaken.
But she did tell me she would be responsible. She told me that she would pay me back.
I don't care what she told you, madam. I'm telling you that this is a court, and you chose to open up a bank account for a minor, the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. Ridiculous.
But could I explain, Judge Judy, the circumstances surrounding it?
You just told me. They were going through hard financial times. You wanted her to have some of the extras, and the best way for her to do that, you told me that. I listen. I absorb everything. And I'll tell you something else. If I ever opened up a bank account for one of my grandchildren, 15-year-old, and I did it between the two of us, my kids would be furious.
But she didn't have access to my accounts, Judge Judy. There was no access to my accounts.
They didn't have access to your account, but what you're complaining about is she overdrew that account and they took it out of your bank account.
Well, because an empty envelope was deposited in the bank machine.
Miss Geraldo, that's what happens when you entrust a 15-year-old who has friends. Either her friends, or whatever. Right? Right?
Whatever.
Cookie?
Yes.
It's not your daughter's responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility for being a foolish grandma.
But I was lied to so much. There was 3 different stories going on.
I don't care whether 3 different stories. You're asking me to say that your daughter and her husband are responsible for something that either their daughter, her friends did, or that something happened where her wallet was taken and somebody else managed to get her PIN number from the information contained in that wallet. All very possible.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, you had no right to open up this bank account for her.
Yes,
and if you chose to do that, it's your responsibility.
It was an expensive mistake.
It was an expensive mistake, but don't try to blame it on somebody else. It was your mistake. Don't do it again.
No, I wouldn't.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm at the raw end of the deal.
She's the one that gave me the account.
And I paid out more money as usual.
It's not my fault somebody did that to me.
For people that don't want to be responsible.
Feels like she's blaming me for it.
Oh, I'll never help out again. Never.
I haven't talked to her since the whole thing happened.
I'm sorry, that's it for me.
I still want want to talk to her, but I don't know if things will ever be the same.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pritzkow versus Chamberlain. Step forward, please.
19-year-old Sarah Pritzkow is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Bradley Chamberlain, for bail money and the return of her class ring.
Mr. Chamberlain, how old are you, sir?
23.
How tall are you?
6'2".
How much do you weigh?
220.
Do you work, go to school? What do you do?
Work.
What do you do?
I sell cinder block.
Hmm?
Sell cinder block.
Good salesman?
Try to be.
Who's this lady?
It's my mother.
Do you live at home or you live outside the home?
I rent the downstairs from her.
Pays you rent?
He does.
Pretty responsible?
Yes.
Trust his judgment?
Absolutely.
Miss Pritzkow, this is what this case is about. You needed a ride to school, and you and Mr. Chamberlain, who were friends?
We were boyfriend-girlfriend.
At that time?
Yes.
He was going to give you a ride to school, and on the way to school, he was driving much too fast.
Yes, sir.
How fast were you driving, Mr. Chamberlain?
When the police officer pulled me over, I was doing 109.
And you were taken into custody?
Yes, ma'am.
Because you were going really fast.
Yes.
And she bailed you out.
Correct.
She wants her money.
Yes, ma'am.
And she says that you also have some class key or something that belongs to her.
A class key and a class ring.
And you said you gave her half the bail, and the other half should be her responsibility.
That's what she agreed to pay with my mother.
Why would she pay any part of your bail?
Because I was doing her a favor in driving her down to school.
You see where we were going, Mr. Chamberlain, with those preliminary questions, sir? 6'2", 220 pounds, a responsible salesman. Nobody put your pedal to the metal, sir, except you. 109? That was your business.
Well, she was wanting me to rush down there so she would be on time to school.
If she said to you, look, this is what I want you to do. I'm sort of short on cash. So I want you to pull into that convenience store and pull the hoodie over your head, put a bandana over here, and I want you to go in, hold up the store because I need some money. Would you do that?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
It's against the law.
There you go. You got my drift, sir.
Yeah, I understand.
So if you got stopped for a crime and were arrested for a crime and were guilty of a crime, it's not because she importuned you to get her to school faster.
Correct.
Good. Now, Mr. Chamberlain says he gave you back some money. Did he?
No, I haven't seen a penny.
You say that you actually took money and put it in Miss Pritzkow's hand. Is that right?
Yes, on about
When?
October 8th, she came up for the weekend, calling, asking if she could have her money as well as the stuff back. So we agreed to meet her at a dealership, which is where I had worked at the time. And me and my brother went over there. I called my mom, asked her if she could loan me the half the money to give to her. My mom brought $250 as well as all the items which I had in a bag down in my bedroom. She had brought those as well as $250 to the dealership where we gave it to her.
Who actually put
I handed it to her.
$250 in her hand?
I handed it to her.
Okay. And you say that didn't happen?
No, I wasn't even up on October 8th.
Were you there at any part of the month of October?
Twice. Once.
Okay, so who cares what date it is? He says he gave you $250 plus some things that belonged to you. What things did you have in the bag?
I actually gave her $250 for my mom and $50 for my own pocket.
What things did you have in a bag that you gave her?
I believe it was a teddy bear, a blanket, and her jewelry, which was the class ring.
The jewelry was just the class ring?
There was a couple things, and I think the key was in there as well.
And you returned it to her?
Yes.
In the parking lot?
No, it was on the front steps of the dealership.
And your brother was with you?
Yes, my brother and my mother were both there.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Step up. What time of the day was this?
It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, just before the dealership closed.
Where did you get the jewelry from?
It was in a bag in his bedroom downstairs. And he called, asked if I'd go downstairs and get it, and bring that, and bring $250 out of the safe.
Not happening. If I had my class ring, I'd be wearing it right now.
When did you break up?
In the early beginnings of October.
Early in October. So if he was going to give you this money and return your property, October 8th or thereabouts would have been just about the right time. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else you want to tell me, Ms. Pritzkow?
Yeah, I have documentations of the bail I paid, written amount for everything.
Let's say the bail is $600. I believe that he paid you $300, and I believe that he returned any jewelry.
I
believe him. That's my job.
But I wasn't even there, Your Honor.
Well, you can establish to me that you weren't there at any time at the beginning of October.
I wasn't. I was there after the 17th for my birthday and to get my car.
So maybe it was the 17th. Listen, Ms. Pritzkow, that's my job. My job is to make a judgment as to who's telling the truth and who's lying. And I believe that he returned the jewelry to you in a bag, along with a bear and a blanket, and that he paid you $300 of the bail. But he's going to pay you the other $300 because it's not your fault that he was stopped for speeding. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $300. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's lying. He didn't pay me anything.
She received her items back,
Because I could trust him. I loved him.
and when she came calling for her money, I gave it to her.
He can rotten. Plain and simple.
20-year-old Joshua Tenney is suing his ex-girlfriend, 24-year-old Michelle Nguyen, for opening a PayPal account with his debit card. Michelle claims it was Joshua who opened the account.
Now, it's case number 39 on the calendar in the matter of Tenney versus Nguyen. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Tenney, this used to be your girlfriend. She's not your girlfriend any longer. It is your claim that while you were away for Thanksgiving holiday last year, the defendant used a credit card of yours to open up a PayPal account on the internet. And she charged many items and used your account to purchase many things for herself. So I'm not exactly sure how this PayPal thing works.
Okay.
So you're going to explain it to me.
All right, what you need to open a PayPal account, it's with association with eBay. All you need is an email address, a credit card, debit card, also an address followed with the name.
An address?
Yes.
Were you two living together?
Yes.
And you had a debit card?
Mm-hmm.
Was that a joint debit card or just in your name?
Just in my name.
How many cards did you have?
One.
Do you just need the number of the card?
Yeah, you just need the number.
Keep going.
She registered under her email address, which is Michelle Loves Josh. I have that right here as well, along with purchases.
Can I see, please, the account being opened with her email address?
And I also have PayPal statements along with my bank statements.
Why would he open the account, Ms. Nguyen, with your email address?
He opened it for me, and we just used my email address.
That's not true.
He opened it for you so that you could buy things on eBay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you were supposed to pay for those things. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I never received.
Just a minute. Well, how much money did you charge on his account?
It was around $2,000.
$2,000?
Mm-hmm.
Over what period of time?
I think about 2 weeks.
Was that when he was away?
No, he actually spent Thanksgiving with me, and he was there the whole time. So you were at my mom's house on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So.
Look at me. Look at me. $2,000 in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Nguyen?
I work at an insurance office.
Doing what?
I'm an insurance agent.
How long have you been with the same company?
About a year.
You work on salary or commission?
Both.
What's your salary?
$10 an hour.
How many hours a week do you work?
Right now, 40.
File tax returns?
Yes.
How much did you earn last year?
I'm not sure.
Well, think very hard. Wasn't so long ago.
It's about $37,000.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I've been to her insurance where she used to work. It's runs by her aunt, and she no longer works there.
I still work there.
And
shh, don't answer him.
She's never received a paycheck. It's all under the table.
Just a minute. She says she filed tax returns that showed that she earned $37,000.
I don't see those.
He was coming to my work to, like, I don't know what
Mr.
he was
Nguyen,
coming there for, but...
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if you filed tax returns several months ago, which indicated that you earned $37,000 in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
I want an answer to that question, and I may make you prove it. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you file tax returns in April?
Yes, I did.
And how much did you claim that you earned?
Around $37,000.
What's around?
It was probably 36.5 something.
So, you have a bank account?
Yes, I do.
And you get paid in check or cash?
Check.
So you put the check in your checking account?
Yes.
And it is your testimony that around last Thanksgiving, when you made these approximately $2,000 worth of purchases, you paid the plaintiff back for those purchases?
No, I was planning to. And then he tried to tell PayPal it was fraudulent, that he had nothing to do with it, and he didn't know about it, even though he did, so that he wouldn't have to pay the money.
I'm asking you, why didn't you pay him?
I was going to pay him, and I told him that I would help him with his bank account and pay him the money.
Miss Nguyen, you bought merchandise. Was it delivered to you?
Yes.
Why didn't you pay him?
I was planning to.
But you didn't. But now he's suing you for money.
Yeah.
Listen to me carefully. Now he's suing you for money, so why didn't you pay him?
I told him I'd give the stuff back, and he
She never said
Just a second. You're not giving the stuff back. Why didn't you pay him? You earned $37,000 according to you last year. Why didn't you pay him?
He was going to do that fraudulent claim.
I didn't ask him what he was going to do. I asked you, why didn't you pay for the stuff that you bought?
I told him that I would.
So...
But...
Is there something you don't understand
I
about
didn't
me?
have the money at the time. But
Why not? You earned $37,000.
I don't know. I have rent.
I don't think that that's funny.
I have rent and bills to pay and stuff.
Then why did you spend $2,000 on merchandise?
It wasn't all for me.
Yes, it was all for you. You said you bought $2,000 worth of stuff. Don't go back on it now.
He actually took some of the merchandise and sold it.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Yes, it is.
Tell me what you bought.
Just clothes and a camera and a cell phone.
What kind of camera did you buy?
It was a...
I have it all in here. It's along with other items that she bought. And the account was actually overdrafted close to $3,000. And I have all the PayPal statements along with the bank statements.
So it was $3,000, is that correct?
It was like $29,000.
Well, show me exactly, please. Give me the figure. It's all women's clothing, Nikon camera, cell phone.
That camera, she gave it to her mother as a gift.
It's some piece of work. It's some piece of work.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And then he grabbed me by my hair and pushed my head like into the grass. And then my roommate came out after that and stopped him, and he pulled a knife out on my roommate.
And later today,
he grabbed his friend that he was wrestling and slammed him into my vehicle, struck his friend right in the nose, was bleeding all over the place.
You don't drink well, sir.
Joshua Tenney claims ex-girlfriend Michelle Newen opened a PayPal account with his debit card. Michelle is countersuing, claiming Joshua assaulted her.
Now, you don't have a legitimate excuse for why you didn't pay him the money.
Well, he wasn't expecting me to pay him when we were dating.
You owe him $27.10. You got it? Now let's deal briefly with your counterclaim, because I'm not sure whether I'm going to believe anything that you tell me. You claim that he assaulted you once. Let's hear about it.
I was getting ready to go to work, and he came to my door, and then...
You mean this is after he found out about these charges?
Yeah.
Go ahead. So he came to your door and?
And he went into my house, and he said he wanted to talk to me. He was acting really nice, so I just let him talk to me. We went in the backyard, and then he started pushing me around a little bit.
What was he saying to you?
He was asking me if I was dating somebody else.
Yes.
It had nothing to do with the bank account thing.
Yes.
And then he started pushing me around. He pushed me into the fence in my backyard, and he wouldn't let me get back into the house to go to work. And then finally he let me out of the backyard, and then he followed me outside to the front of the house, and then he grabbed me by my hair and pushed my head like into the grass. And then my roommate came out after that and stopped him, and he pulled a knife out on my roommate. And then that was pretty much it after that. And then I was going to work, but he was following me.
Did you go to work?
No, I couldn't, because he was following me.
So where did you go?
We went to the police station. I didn't want him following me to work because...
And you went to the police station, you filed a report?
Yes.
Can I see a copy of the report?
They wouldn't release a report to me, but they did give me this. It just has the police report number and the date that it happened.
When did you go back to work?
About 5 days later, 6 days later.
What would you do for 5 days?
I just stayed at home, but my boss told me not to come in because...
Don't tell me what your boss told you. Why did you stay home? He knows where you live.
Yeah, but I felt safer at my house.
Why did you feel safer at your house rather than at work where there were other people?
Oh, well, it's just me in the office, that's why.
There's nobody else in the office?
No, my boss comes in for like a couple of hours in the morning and then she'll leave.
Is your boss a relative of yours?
Yes, she's my aunt.
What kind of insurance do you sell?
Car, home, health, everything.
Are you a licensed insurance broker?
No, she is. I'm just her assistant.
But she's not there?
Yeah, but I can still do everything, like write policies and everything. Why is that funny?
Start with a little doing something not right, and you get into doing a lot of things that are not right. What happened on that date in February, Mr. Tenney?
I go over there, try to talk to her, because this is when everything started coming out, and I found out that she did all these charges. As you can see, packages showing up to the house, clothes, toys for a kid. I go over there, try to talk to her, but she won't talk to me. And she started being very rude and just making comments towards me, saying things that just tipped me over the edge, but I never did assault her.
Mr. Tenney, what did you do? Did you push her?
No.
Did you put your hands on her?
No.
What did you do?
I went over there trying to talk to her.
I understand that. But then she was trying to push you over the edge. So
Yes.
is what you're telling me that you didn't put your hands on her at all?
No.
Even pulling her arm?
No.
Okay. When was the first time, Ms. Nguyen, that Mr. Tenney told you that he wanted you to pay him for some of this property that you had delivered?
He never told me that he wanted me to pay him until we broke up.
My question to you is, when for the first time did he tell you that he wanted you to pay him back for this problem?
Around Valentine's Day.
February.
February. No, after Valentine's Day.
After February.
We weren't seeing each other then.
Shh. Don't speak. After February 14th. How much after February 14th?
I think after, maybe a few days after.
February 18th.
Mhm.
And what did he say to you when he told you he wanted you to pay for some of this stuff?
He didn't ask me to pay for anything until after I tried to break up with him.
You were already breaking up with him. This happened on February
No.
24th.
We were broken up, but we were kind of like on a break type of breaking up. He thought he still had a chance with me. That's why he
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,710. Ms. Nguyen, I am not persuaded that you suffered any injury or that you suffered from any harassment at the plaintiff's hand. I believe that he was frustrated. That doesn't give him the right to assault you, but I don't believe he did that.
No.
I don't believe, madam, that the police would allow you to leave the police station without taking photographs of injuries, without filing a police report, which they did not do, without arresting the defendant, if they believed any of your story that there was an assault that took place on the 24th of February. Were you ever arrested, sir?
No, no charges.
Thank you very
were
much.
pressed.
Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think they were gifts.
She led me on.
Probably revenge.
Gold digger, straight up.
Police and a dog attack.
Court coming to order. All rise.
Be seated, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case 2080 Baptiste versus Carter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Batiste, you and Miss Carter were roommates.
Yes, ma'am.
From when to when?
From October 7th to April 1st. Actually, May.
And it is your claim that Miss Carter vandalized certain property of yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Most specifically, a very expensive couch.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you had an argument, and that during the course of this argument, her dog bit you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And for breaching the lease, because she left.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but it was a good thing that she left, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You were happy that she left. Her dog bit you. She vandalized
Right,
the sofa. You were very
I was
happy
very
that
happy
she
left, yeah.
You were very happy. So we're going to eliminate that breach of the lease part.
No.
Oh, yes, we're going to eliminate the breach of the lease part because you were happy that she left.
I didn't want her to live in the same situation as her, but being that the rent was so expensive, it wouldn't have been my best interest for her to leave.
It's with her to stay with her dog that bit you.
Right.
I mean, I don't want you to sound ridiculous to me, okay?
Right.
All right, let's not sound ridiculous to me. Normal person, if they were bitten by their roommate's dog, and if their roommate vandalized their property, that roommate would be happy to see them go.
But I'm not happy with the expensive rent by myself.
Well, of course, but your choice would be, I just told you, I'm sticking with vandalizing and dog bite. So tell me when this dog bite took place.
It's on March 29th.
What kind of dog was it, by the way?
It was a Belgian Malinois.
What do they look like?
It looks like a German Shepherd.
Is that what you have, Miss Carter? A Belgian
Yes, Your
Malinois?
Honor. Yes, Your Honor. A Belgian Malinois, like a police dog.
So it looks like a German Shepherd?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's a large dog?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you moved in together, you moved in with the dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So tell me what happened March 29th.
Okay, so before March 29th, Adrian and I got in a petty argument. It was dumb. We made up. In the argument, she confessed to me that...
No, just a minute. You engaged in a petty argument, and then you made up.
Yes.
And the petty argument was on what date?
It was on the March 27th.
And you made up?
Yes.
Okay. On the 27th, what were you arguing about?
My dog tore up the carpet, and she sent this long paragraph, and we were just going back and forth, and we realized it was dumb, so we decided to drop it. And that's when she confessed to...
On the 27th, about the dog. Is that what you're telling me? Be very careful.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
She confessed that she gave the guy that I was seeing a lap dance.
And?
And I immediately cut all ties with her.
So you cut all ties with her how?
I stopped speaking to her.
Even though you were roommates?
Yes.
Okay.
After I stopped talking to her, social media posts were made.
By whom?
Adrian.
Okay. Social media posts were made. Do you have those?
No, I do not.
Do you have those?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Why don't you have them if this is your case?
They erased, but I have other things that I think you would want to see.
I'm going in order. This is a case. So don't try to creep into my mind. Even say in your complaint a couple of days later there were things posted on social media. And is what you're telling me that they were erased?
Right. I didn't save anything that she posted.
Oh, never mind. I don't have to see anything, correct?
Correct.
So you didn't save anything?
No, ma'am.
Then you have no evidence of anything that happened
So
later.
I saw that she had no remorse for what she did. Then I made social media posts. Adrian was mad that I made social media posts. So the next morning, she's yelling at the top of her lungs at 10 in the morning. I wake up to see what she's yelling about. And she's just saying how I'm a and I shouldn't have posted what I posted. And we were just arguing about the situation. And I asked, how could she do this to me? And while we were arguing, we were pretty close. The dog bit me, and I said, you need to get your dog. She said, no, your dog's good. And we continued to argue. The dog came to bite me again, and that's when I grabbed what was behind me, which was a paper towel holder, and I chucked it at the dog.
So the dog bit you on the arm?
Yes, ma'am. Twice.
Okay. I would like to see a medical report on that.
Okay. All right, I have a photo of the bite, the antibiotics, and then this is the report.
Would you show this to Miss Carter, please?
Your Honor, I know she has a video of the entire incident, if you'd rather.
It's not her obligation to prove your case, as my law clerk so aptly told me in the last case. Not her obligation, it's your obligation. Okay. So, go ahead.
After her dog bit me, I immediately grabbed my dog and I go to the hospital. I filled out
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a Doberman.
Where was your Doberman when this was going on?
He was in the cage and he's still a baby as well. So I went to the hospital, got treated. While I was at the hospital.
A police report?
Yes, ma'am, I have a police report.
Then I'd like to see the police report. That's an official business record.
So this is the first police report for the dog bite.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so April 19th, this day, Adrian knocked on my door.
No, April 19th? We're at April 19th. I thought you moved out on April 1st.
No, she moved out on April 19th.
So is what you're saying after all this altercation, she moved out?
Yes, ma'am.
And stayed in the apartment with her dog from the 29th to April 19th?
Yes, ma'am. And I went to a friend's house the day the dog bit me, and then I went home for a week, and then that's when I came back, and this second incident happened.
So after the dog bit you, you did not go home. You took your dog and left.
Yes, ma'am.
And stayed at whose house for a week?
I stayed at a friend that lives an hour away from my current apartment.
On what date did you return?
So I stayed one night at a friend's house, and then I returned, and then I went home for a week. So
when you went, stop playing with papers.
Yes, Your Honor.
When you went home for the day, was the defendant at home?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any conversations with her?
No, ma'am.
Just stayed out of her way and packed a few things and left?
Yes, ma'am.
And you went to stay?
At home in Alabama.
With your family?
Yes, ma'am. Until things cooled down, basically. Okay. Adrian was knocking on my door at 9 a.m. in the morning saying that I need to come to the leasing office because there's a new roommate here. I told her no, and then that's when she started threatening me and calling me all these kinds of names. So I take my dog again, I go outside, and I call an officer, and that's also when I call my mom, and she convinced me to go up there to speak with the new roommate to see, who they were.
What new roommates? Just a second.
She tried to get 2 young girls to replace her on the lease.
And it was unsatisfactory?
Yes, ma'am.
So far, I have a dog bite and
yes, ma'am.
Couch.
So after I said no to the 2 roommates, one didn't have a job, they looked young, I said no. I went back home. 10 minutes later, Adrian...
Home? You mean to your folks'
To our
house?
apartment.
Oh, to your apartment.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So 10 minutes later, Adrian comes in. I was in the room with my door locked. I hear Adrian yelling. I hear her throwing things. She's saying, I can't believe you did that. You really just did that. I don't care. I'm still moving out. I'm still leaving. I'm not paying rent. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't come out the room because last time it got crazy, so I just said I would let her do what she does, and I will out. She had moved the couch in front of the door, so I couldn't get out of my room. And
well, how did you get out?
I jumped over it. And the trash can was flipped upside down. I have pictures of all the damage that she did to the house and videos.
Well, I'd like to see them, please. And I would like to see the damage to the couch, which is your major complaint.
Okay, so this is the damages, and then I have a video of the entire incident right here.
Brooke Batiste claims her ex-roommate, Adrian Carter, owes for couch damage and a dog attack.
By the way, did you have any unreimbursed medical bills as a result of this dog bite? That's either a yes or a no.
No, ma'am.
When did you purchase this couch?
I purchased it the day we moved in, so it was October 7th.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $2,200 in total, and Adrian and I were paying on it a little bit in the beginning, but there came a time where we had to make the final payment on it, which was $1,200. When we had the argument, she didn't pay anything, so I had to pay it all by myself, and the couch is in my name.
Did the couch remain?
Yes, ma'am. The couch is at the house.
What does it look like now?
It's black, but there's it's an odor coming from the couch, and there's some stains on it.
Do you have a picture of it, what it looks like now?
No, ma'am. I just have the pictures that I gave you.
Okay, but you're still using the sofa.
The
answer
it's
is
a smell. No, ma'am. I don't sit on it anymore because of the smell.
So why don't you get rid of it out of the apartment?
I'm moving.
Apartment since April.
Yes, ma'am.
April, May.
I just haven't made the time to get rid of it because I know I'm moving soon, and that's when I plan to get rid of it.
I wouldn't keep something in my house that smelled.
I work a lot, and
Would you please show this to the defendant? Want to tell me how that happened?
I did put chips and like items that wasn't wet on the couch out of anger. I shouldn't have did it, but I did do it. And I didn't put liquid on it or anything. Literally,
That's not true, Your Honor.
Don't speak.
You can
No.
get a napkin and wipe it off. But that's my couch too. Maybe I didn't pay the whole thing on it, but I've made payments on that couch, and I decided not to do that full payment that she did, which was $600, because she was irresponsible and decided to rent a couch and found out that that couch was whatever amount. I made payments on that couch, and I have proof for it.
That's okay. You had no right to even attempt to destroy it. Okay, I'm actually finished with you.
Your Honor, can we please go back over the lease portion of this?
No.
Can my mom speak about what happened?
No, I said no. When there's that kind of acrimony, I actually think that before somebody gets seriously injured, when you have two large dogs and two people with hot tempers that can do this, it's a very, very good thing that they no longer live together.
Being stuck with a rent and
Just a second. I've just answered you. This is not a back and forth.
Yes, ma'am.
On the dog bite, I am awarding you $1,000. It looks as if part of it was a black and blue mark. Certainly, I can't blame the dog for trying to protect its owner, but she's supposed to have control of her dog all the time.
And she shouldn't start arguing.
This is not a tea dance. I'm not asking you anything. And I'm awarding you $1,200 for the sofa. That's $2,200. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
She just did something messed up, and I cut her off, and she didn't like it.
I literally cut her off. She's just mad that she's cut off.
She's delusional. She's delusional.
She's childish, she's irresponsible, and I was just sick of dealing with someone draining.
Just don't get roommates with your friends. Just move in by yourself.
I'm happy.
You had a question about the lease.
I did. So I agree that it was best for the acrimonious situation for them to separate and not to live there. So I understand your judgment saying it was better for you. You got the good end of the stick on that. Although a negative situation that should have probably ended right when it did, she was stuck paying her half as well. So I thought you should have at least heard her claim on the breach of a lease, because then anyone could just say, oh, well, I don't like the situation and I feel like leaving would be a better thing, and stick their roommate with their portion of the rent. And that's not what the law says.
Well, that's true, except that this wasn't just a situation where parties weren't getting along. Mm-hmm. There's no question that she was nipped by the defendant's dog. Well, I wouldn't want to stay in that situation anyway.
Well, that would give her the right to maybe leave without paying her half of the rent, but that's not what happened.
It's also sort of acknowledged that the defendant brought two other people to take over her piece of rent. And it was in the papers, and the plaintiff did not...
She did say that she was the one that said no.
She said, I don't want those two people. Well, then the onus really falls on her to mitigate her damages. Mm-hmm. And she had no proof that she went forward to try to get another roommate. Between the two of them, they may have had an agreement, but the dispute over rent really is the defendants and the landlords. Mm-hmm. She doesn't pay her rent, and if the plaintiff pays her half of the rent, the landlord...
Videographer Garrett Manny for Unfinished Video Services.
Court come to order. All rise.
Thank you. Have a seat.
Hello, Judge. Case 2089, Brooks versus Manley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Brooks, you are a realtor.
Yes.
And you also decided to go into the business of buying houses, fixing them up, and flipping them.
That's correct, Your Honor.
When did you decide to do that?
I started my company in 2017.
Was that just a real estate company, or was that the company that bought houses and renovated them and sold them? Which one?
That was my company that I started for flipping houses.
Do you have a partner in that business?
No, it's just myself.
From 2017 until now, how many houses have you sold and flipped?
This would have been my third one.
The house that we're talking about now?
Yes.
And when did you purchase that house?
I purchased it in March of 2020.
How much did you pay for it?
$200,000.
This is what the case is about. For that house, just that house, you commissioned Mr. Maney?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
And you're a videographer.
Yes, Your Honor, photographer and videographer.
To video for the purposes of advertising the project from start to finish, what it looked like when you purchased it, and sort of ongoing throughout the process, taking video of what you did to change cosmetically the inside and or the outside of the house. And you had an agreed price with him, which you paid. How much was that?
$1,919.
And it is your claim that since Mr. Maney did not finish the project and did not take the end product of what the house looked like when it was finished, you acknowledge he did come at other times and took video of what the house looked like at the beginning and the middle. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
But didn't do the video of the end that you want your entire, well, the job was supposed to take 4 months. It took almost a year. He didn't sign on for that, which may be. But more important, is there a video? Do you have a video of what he took? Do you have a video of what you gave her?
I have in my Google Drive a ton of video of what I've taken, but at the end, I have evidence showing we had scheduled for me to come in and do that final video. Everything was on point. Then she tells me here,
no,
it's going to be completed.
Just a second.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to let you have an opportunity.
Okay, sorry, Your Honor.
To tell me what your defense is to this case, if you need one. I just want to see some video of what you took. Doesn't anybody have that here? I mean, if 3/4 of the project was completed with video, and the only thing, according to you, that he didn't do was the end, that's what you just told me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so did he give you the video that was done?
I got nothing, Your Honor.
Your Honor, she has had access to the Google Drive with all of the video components in there. I cannot complete the final edits to put everything together until she completed things on her part, which was never done.
Which was spoken about from the beginning. Completing things on her part meant completing the house.
Completing the house, talking points.
Okay, but video is completing the house.
That's part of it.
Part of it. And the other one is audio where she tells you what's been done.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm just thinking out loud. Why didn't you do that yourself?
Your Honor, I never had a video to be able to go and do my...
No, I'm saying, did you have access to what he had done up until that time? That's either a yes or a no. Do you have some evidence to show me that the plaintiff had access to the video that you had shot of 3/4 of the project being completed?
I believe I have something in here about uploading stuff into the Google Drive, which if she didn't have access to that Google Drive, then how did she upload the final walkthrough video that I do have evidence of that is not professional, that I was unable to complete due to her lack of commitment?
Just a second. You have video of what?
There is video evidence of the final walkthrough that was done by somebody on a phone camera because she canceled on me last minute when we were supposed to do it.
Just a second. Where did you get that evidence from?
She uploaded it into the Google Drive that had all of the videos, which she had access to, obviously, if she put it in there.
So what you're saying is Miss Brooks added a video of a final walkthrough that was done by whom?
My son.
By her son. And she added that final walkthrough to the Google Drive, and therefore you were able to get it. And she tacked that on to the work that you did complete. Is that what you're telling me?
All of the rest of the videos are in the same Google Drive.
Whereas in the same Google Drive.
Which she had access to the entire...
Now I'd like to see the video.
Which is not professional quality.
What did you do with that, Miss Brooks?
Your Honor,
what did you do with it?
Nothing.
At first you told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you...
Rosa Brooks claims videographer Garrett Manny did not finish her home renovation video.
You didn't send it to him. There's no question you didn't send it to him.
He requested...
You did not send it to him.
No, I didn't No, my son sent it to him.
How do I know that?
He requested it from my son because he asked me to, but I did not know how to forward it to him on the format that he was requiring. I also have tried to meet with Mr. Manning to have him upload or transfer all of the video that I videotaped of when he couldn't make it to his office so that he can upload it onto his computer so he can edit it. He never gave me an edited copy of
Just a second. Ms. Brooks, is what you're telling me you have never seen any video of the 3/4 of the job that you acknowledge that he did? Are you telling me you've never seen any of those videos?
Never seen any of those videos, Your Honor, only when he was recording it at the property.
Mr. Maney, you wanted to show me something.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, there is...
At the beginning, when we started.
A few things here.
First of all, you have on your Google Drive
Yes, Your Honor.
all of the video that you took.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you currently have it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any way that I can see any of it?
Absolutely. I also have another video that shows...
See on the Google Drive who has access to it.
Oh.
I removed the access when this case came up because I didn't want... At this point, I don't trust the plaintiff, so I removed her access so that she couldn't go and delete the videos and try to claim that she never had access.
To them. Got it.
Let me see.
Give the phone to Sarah, please, Kevin.
There it is, flip videos. That's all the different files with all of the different videos. And there may be something that you can push in there to see when people had access at one point, because I had access for herself as well as her son. And she has, prior, uploaded videos into there herself.
There's more than 30 videos in here, and
those are just
I
files.
see the two little people on Google Drive, which usually indicates that it's shared with more than one person.
Is it currently shared with anybody other than the defendant? He said he took her off the shared access.
Rosa Brooks does have access to all of the videos.
She does.
Your Honor, can I explain why he set up that folder? Because I also took video myself to upload onto that. He showed me how to do that.
He told me that you also did, but he said that this file also includes the video footage that he took.
Yes, but it was never edited, so I can do voiceovers.
Just a second. I asked you a specific question, Ms. Brooks. I said, did you ever see any of the video that he took? Your answer was no.
No.
Correct?
Correct.
Well, the fact that you didn't look at it, I don't believe. I find no validity to why, if you had it and you were coming to court today and you were dissatisfied, why you wouldn't look at it. You had your son have access to it, and I don't know how old your son is, who took the end work for you. Clearly, $1,900 worth of work. Clearly. So what happened at the end that caused you to have your son do an end look at what the place looked like? I don't know why, but Mr. Maney said that he has an email from you that I'm going to look at now. That would sort of be dispositive of what happened at the end run of this case. Well, Sarah, could you give me just one look at his?
Sure. So he has all of these different files for different sections of the home, driveway, fireplace, and if you click on them, these are all of the videos taken for flooring. And if you click on this, it's a video of them doing flooring, and you can see who has access to the clips. Her son,
Jeffrey
the plaintiff,
and Rosa. And
the owner is the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
And there's probably over 50 videos in the file.
So that you and your son had access to these videos over an extended period of time.
fact that you didn't look at it, that's not my problem.
Your Honor, my son did that video late at the end, towards the end of
what I'm telling you is you had access to these videos.
Well,
at first you told me you didn't have access, that you never saw them. Then they were available to you and your son to be able to look at them. You say you never looked at them. I actually find that unbelievable, Ms. Brooks. I find it unbelievable that you had them and you didn't look at them.
I didn't feel it was a need to look at them, Your Honor. I was anticipating going up to Mr. Manny's office, so once he edited, I could do the voiceovers on them.
Okay.
There was no real
Ms. Brooks,
purpose.
I don't believe that you didn't look at them. I don't believe that you didn't look at them. How much did you sell the house?
That folder for me to
how much did you
put my videos into.
How much did you? You're trying to talk over me. That's not happening.
I'm not.
You sold the house in what month and year?
The house closed on January 2022.
And what did you sell it for?
$555,000.
So you made $350,000.
No, Your Honor, $270,000 went into the house renovation.
Just a second. You sold it for $350,000 more than you paid for it.
Your Honor, I use hard money, and there's lots of.
Just a second. I know you're arguing with me. You bought it for $200,000. You sold it for $550,000.
Yes.
My math is not great, but that's a difference of $350,000. That's all I said to you. I said you bought it for $200,000. You sold it, and the difference between the purchase price and the sale price was $350,000.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
So even if you made, in those few short months, $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
Rosa Brooks has accused videographer Garrett Manny of not completing her home renovation video.
Now, you sold it in January of 2022.
That's correct.
That's when it closed.
Yes.
When did it go into contract?
Early in the project, Your Honor. It was pretty much the third month after I purchased it. So I purchased it in March. It was under contract around July of 2020.
Well, there was a lot of back and forth and a little bit of cancellation on your part back in December. You forth on the Endgame video.
Yes, Your Honor. And he
also what?
He also canceled as well. He has to.
Well, that's all right, but
Yeah, back and forth. We both had cancellations. And
I understand that, but this was for the final piece, which is what you're complaining about, the final piece.
Your Honor, he was not responding to me at some point when I tried to contact him to get the opportunity to go to his office to give him the rest of the footage that he needed, that he requested, that he was difficult about because I wasn't able to forward it to him in the format that he needed it for. I offered to come up to his office so that he can, transfer from my phone.
I'm going to ask you a question, Ms. Brooks. I just want to see what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
How many files of video did he have?
Oh, I can't tell.
You told me 30?
There's at least 30.
I had tons of video myself in there that I uploaded that he taught me how to put into those folders. A lot of those videos are my videos that he didn't take.
I don't care. It was on the same thing that you could have looked at and told me that you didn't, which I don't believe. So I want you to understand that. He was involved. There are 30 files. I want you to tell me, how much do you think that on a time basis Mr. Maney is entitled to? You paid him $1,919. He did clearly countless of hours of videoing your project. At the end, it turned south, and the videos were available to you. I want you to give me a figure of what you think is fair
to do his filming.
Where does he live?
Second, he lives like the next town over from me.
Just a second, so he has to get there.
Yes.
I want you to think, Ms. Brooks, I want you to think of what you personally did to make a profit of $350,000.
Your Honor, I didn't profit that amount.
I'm telling you, that's the difference. You may have spent money in renovating the property, but that's the difference between what you purchased it for and what you sold it for, $350,000. So the sweat of your brow, your work ethic is worth something. So even if you made, in those few short months, $150,000, you didn't do the physical labor on the house. You had workmen do the physical labor on the house.
I did some of it, Your Honor.
Well, maybe, but you made a handsome profit. I want you to tell me what you think Mr. Maney's work was worth to you, because I'm telling you right now, I am viewing this case as if you and your son had access to 3/4 of the finished product. So I want you to tell me what you think his work is worth.
Your Honor, it's worthless to me that I didn't get the video.
Okay.
I had a website that I needed the video for once the job was completed.
Well, that's unfortunate. You should have had your son do it. Since you can't give me a figure, I'm dismissing your case. We're done. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
First of all, I paid him for something that I never got anything for.
They had access to the files the whole time.
And as far as him saying he uploaded some videos,
The only reason I wasn't able to get the final video
yes, they were uploaded, but I never got a chance to really review them.
is because she canceled on me like 12 hours before we were supposed to do it.
I was not anticipating on reviewing anything that was not edited.
It was her lack of put together a commitment.
Not to pay for anything up.
Not happy. That says something.
I love Google Drive. They leave a record. You can see who started the file, who shared the file, who has access to it, who had revoke access. So I could see as soon as I logged in, he was very organized. He had different areas of the house labeled, individual videos of flooring progress. All of those were owned by him, shared with the plaintiff to be able to view them. So I don't understand why people lie about things that are so easily to be fact-checked.
And did it make sense to you that if you had this project going, and it was the first time that you were memorializing one of your flipped houses, although she had two before, that it was something that she was interested in?
I know for myself on Google Drive, you get emails when things get uploaded. I would have been checking the second that the video got uploaded.
It doesn't make sense that she didn't look at them.
No, not at all. There were some videos that she potentially did add to the Google Drive, so I did see some of those.
Well, that's so interesting, because in order to be able to do that, you have to know
access.
that. Right. Didn't make sense. Not only didn't it make sense, but she had an end video, and it was clearly from the emails back and forth. She would make a date and then say, you know, her buyers aren't exactly ready. She needs a little more wiggle room. Could you make it this? She made it. Anyway, I found it sort of unbusinesslike. Did not say somebody did work, clearly spent hours videotaping for her. So if you didn't get your final video, but 3/4 of it was finished and could easily be edited by anybody, to find the work he did worthless.
I feel like it was a little bit of buyer's remorse for the video, because she was intending to use this video to maybe attempt to sell it. I presume it was to try and sell the home, or her business as a flipper.
Her business.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2057, Hay versus Hill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hay, you're a musician.
I am a songwriter and I sing song. I don't play the instrument, Your Honor.
That's music.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hill, you make music videos.
Yes, I have a video production company.
For how long, sir?
Since 2006.
You have employees?
No.
Just you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a place of business?
Yes, I work at my home.
So your place of business
is the residence.
Do you have a studio in the residence?
No, we do not.
Where do you record this music?
Most of the time we do it on location, but I haven't done a music video in almost 10 years.
When you say you have a video business, you haven't done music videos.
Right, yeah.
You have done what kind of videos?
Well, we've done a small film. We have a 3D full-length original animation that we do. We also have a network that we show podcasts on. We have a health and fitness show, and we was working on a reality TV show and an entertainment news show.
I still don't understand how you make a living. Income.
Oh, I have a regular 9-to-5 job. Besides
okay, now that's where we go.
Yeah.
So your 9-to-5 job is what?
Right now I'm an insurance agent.
Do you advertise making videos?
Absolutely not. The only reason I did this was as a favor to a friend.
Well, you didn't do it for a favor because you were charging him.
No, the only reason I accepted to do the video was because a friend asked me to meet with him.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But you weren't doing him a favor because you were charging him.
No, I was doing the friend a favor. I wasn't doing him a favor.
No.
Right.
Mr. Hill, if somebody says, listen, I have a friend who wants to make a video. I know you've got a setup in your house where you could do that, or you do it on location. Would you like to be introduced to him? And you met with Mr. Hay on what date?
I'm not really sure.
On what date, Mr. Hay?
We met sometime in early April, late March.
Did you have a written contract?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was to make certain videos?
Yes.
I'd like to see the written contract, please. This lawsuit seeks a refund of the money that you gave to him because the entire contract was not fulfilled. That's what the case is about.
That is correct.
Okay, so there is a full and complete agreement. Was this the only agreement there was in writing?
That's the one for that one.
That's the one for what?
For that particular item. There's another one here.
Well, that's what I wanted to know. There's one to produce 3 videos.
That is correct.
Okay. Is there another written contract?
He said this is not a contract.
Well, but I'm asking you, is there another written contract that you're relying on? Because he was supposed to make 3 videos, and the cost of the 3 videos was $1,500?
$3,000.
$3,000.
Demand $1,500 from me.
Okay.
Okay, that's
And
right.
then
That's
just
not
a second.
correct. That's not correct.
Just a second. So it is your claim that in addition to the $3,000, $1,500 of which you paid to him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
There was a subsequent contract afterwards for an additional item. I'd like to see that.
For the live performance on May 1st.
Okay. You wanted to do something live on one of his radio stations. Or...
Mr. Hill?
No, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Okay. Let's deal with the easier one first. Did you receive the $1,500 for this contract?
Yes.
And that was for a live performance on one of your outlets.
Right.
And that was to take place on May 1st.
May 1st.
And it's his $1,500 back. That's one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But I'm not asking you anything. There's nothing else that you have to tell me about that, right? You paid him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't do a live performance. You get your $1,500 back.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, with regard to the 3 videos, you've given him a total now of $3,000?
$1,500, Your Honor.
How much did you pay him on this?
For the videos?
Yes.
I gave him $500 up front to start off on that project. And then that's on the 21st. And then I gave him $1,000 by the 27th, I think, for the 3 videos.
So you gave him the 3 videos was supposed to be $3,000, and you gave him $1,500.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How many videos were produced for you?
1.
Is it accurate that 1 video was produced for Mr. Hay?
Yes.
And it was done on a particular date?
Right.
And you gave him that video?
Yes.
On what date did you give him that video?
No.
Okay. Each video was supposed to cost $1,000.
Yes.
Dollars. And you received 1 video.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid him $1,500 so far as down payment on 3. So you have $1,500 that you believe is coming back to you from that amount of money, in addition to the $1,500 that I've already given you.
No, the $1,500 covered the first video. It wasn't a breakdown like he's trying to make it in the 3 videos. No, the $1,500 was the cost, was the full cost for the first video.
Does it say that in here? He's not giving you more money back.
No.
He's not giving you more money that you gave him. Do you have a defense for not paying rent for those 3 months, which you clearly occupied her premises? Who wants to tell me why you didn't pay rent?
Edmund Hay claims videographer Ramsey Hill breached their music video contract.
Kevin, would you please ask Mr. Hill to show me where in this contract, and I may have missed it, that $3,000 was to be paid for 3 videos.
Right.
But the first one cost half, cost $1,500. All I want you to do is to show me in that contract where it says that. If it says that, then Mr. Hay gets back the $1,500 from live music performance.
The music video production won $1,500.
Just a second. Can I see it, please? Yes, it does. Mr. Hay, that's a produced video, correct?
Correct, ma'am.
Okay, well,
So,
and you're absolutely right. What?
so the reason why I'm suing him for the extra $1,000, Your Honor, is for the live performance that he didn't perform. I had to hire 2 other persons.
That's not his problem. He didn't perform. He didn't do the live performance.
No, first of all,
and you're getting your money back. He's not giving you more money back.
No.
He's not giving you more money that you gave him. Do you understand?
Your Honor, may I say this, please?
You could say whatever you want to say. He's not paying for you to do another live performance with other people. He didn't perform pursuant to the contract, and you're getting your money back because he didn't perform that contract.
For the videos, correct?
For the videos, he produced one, and one was $1,500. That's what this contract says.
The contract is about making 3 videos, Your Honor.
That's all right. If you want to look at it, do you want to see it? Have we shown it to you?
No, I'm asking pertaining to what he says. He says pertaining to just one for the 1,500.
It says it's clear. Music video, #1 production, $1,500.
Number 1, which means there's 2 more need to be done.
Correct, but the first one was, just a second, the first one was $1,500. He could have very easily said, Mr. Hay, production #1, $1,000. Production #2.
He explained that like he just said to me, and he wrote that in words for that purpose.
This is what the court is bound by, sir. Not what he may have explained to you, because you cannot modify in the law a written contract by oral communications between the parties. It's in writing. If you wanted him to write production 1, $1,000, then you would have said, write production 1, that each video was, fact speaks for itself. On the initial contract, he has to give you a refund of $1,500. On this contract, he produced #1 video for which you paid him $1,500. That's what the contract calls for. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Well, it's a fair decision.
There is no breaching of my end on the contract.
It would never have been any money if he'd have kept things on course.
How did I breach the contract when I'm here getting the money for the contract?
I'm not working with anybody like that anymore.
You cannot have an oral modification of a written contract. So I think it's a good lesson for people signing written contracts that if you don't agree or you have a different understanding than something that's listed in the contract, don't let the other person just explain it away in the moment, because as we've seen, that doesn't hold up in court and your rights are going to be.
तो अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसा रहा ये वाला एपिसोड? तो मिलते हैं अगले वाले एपिसोड में, क्योंकि ये वाला इतना था तो हम दूसरा वाला एपिसोड लगाते हैं। तब तक के लिए आप हमारे साथ कोऑपरेट करें, क्योंकि आपको पता है हम एपिसोड को टाइम से पहले वो अपलोड करते हैं। वो इसलिए थोड़ा थोड़ा अपलोड करते हैं ताकि उस पर कॉपीराइट ना आए, वैसे क्लेम ना आए। आजकल बहुत सारे क्लेम आते हैं, वो ब्लॉक हो जाता है, तो इस वजह से हम छोटे छोटे तकरीबन ये वाला क्लिप लगाते हैं ताकि आपको ये समझ आ जाए। तो इसके बाद हम दूसरे लगाते हैं। तो जैसे कि आपने देख लिया, अभी क्लेम नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि वो हम क्लिप ज़्यादा लगाएंगे तो क्लेम जल्दी आ जाएगा। तो इस वजह से हमने छोटा ऐड लगाया था ना, वो एपिसोड लगाया था तकरीबन 7-8 मिनट का। तो इसके बाद 7-8 मिनट का और एपिसोड आएगा। इसी तरह 7-8 मिनट का और एक एपिसोड को हम 3 एपिसोड में डिवाइड करते हैं, क्योंकि इधर ऐड ज़्यादा आता है। तो जैसे कि ऐड भी आता है उसमें, और एक तो कॉपीराइट का वो मसला होता है। दूसरा हम वक्त से पहले एपिसोड को अपलोड करते हैं, क्योंकि एपिसोड ज़्यादा जल्दी नहीं आता है। एपिसोड आता है 9, जैसे कि एपिसोड आता है 9 बजे, तो हम अपलोड करते हैं 7 बजे, क्योंकि हम पहले अपलोड करते हैं। ज़्यादातर ऑडियंस की वो जल्दी देखने का वो होता है ना, तो जल्दी होता है कि हम एपिसोड देख लें, वो उसके लिए वेट करते हैं। तो इस वजह से हम जल्दी एपिसोड को ढूंढते हैं और उसको अपलोड करते हैं ताकि आप लोग को पहुंच जाते हैं। तो अगर आप हमारे इस कॉपीराइट वाले वर्क से मुतमईन हैं तो हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और वीडियो को शेयर करें, ताकि हमारे ये जो होता है तो सबके लिए। तो अल्लाह हाफिज़, मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में। तो अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसा रहा ये वाला एपिसोड? तो मिलते हैं अगले वाले एपिसोड में, क्योंकि ये वाला इतना था तो हम दूसरा वाला एपिसोड लगाते हैं। तब तक के लिए आप हमारे साथ कोऑपरेट करें, क्योंकि आपको पता है हम एपिसोड को टाइम से पहले वो अपलोड करते, वो इसलिए थोड़ा थोड़ा अपलोड करते ताकि उस पर कॉपीराइट न आए, वैसे क्लेम न आए। आजकल बहुत सारे क्लेम आते हैं, वो ब्लॉक हो जाता है, तो इस वजह से हम छोटे छोटे तकरीबन ये वाला क्लिप लगाते हैं ताकि आपको ये समझ आ जाए, तो इसके बाद हम दूसरे लगाते हैं। तो जैसे कि आपने देख भी अभी क्लेम नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि वो हम क्लिप ज़्यादा लगाएंगे तो क्लेम जल्दी आ जाएगा। तो इस वजह से हमने छोटा एड लगाया था ना, वो एपिसोड लगाया था तकरीबन 7-8 मिनट का। तो इसके बाद 7-8 मिनट का और एपिसोड आएगा। इस तरह 7-8 मिनट का और एक एपिसोड को हम 3 एपिसोड में डिवाइड करते, क्योंकि इधर एड ज़्यादा आता है। तो जैसे कि एड भी आता है उसमें, और एक तो कॉपीराइट का मसला होता है, दूसरा हम वक्त से पहले एपिसोड को अपलोड करते हैं, क्योंकि एपिसोड ज़्यादा जल्दी नहीं आता है। एपिसोड आता है 9 जैसे कि एपिसोड आता है 9 बजे, तो हम अपलोड करते हैं 7 बजे, क्योंकि हम पहले अपलोड करते। ज़्यादातर ऑडियंस की वो जल्दी देखने का वो होता है ना, तो जल्दी होता है कि हम एपिसोड देख ले, वो उसके लिए वेट करते। तो इस वजह से हम जल्दी एपिसोड को ढूंढते हैं और उसको अपलोड करते हैं, ताकि आप लोग को पहुंच जाते हैं। तो अगर आप हमारे इस कॉपीराइट वाले वर्क से मुतमईन हैं, तो हमारे YouTube चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और वीडियो को शेयर करें, ताकि हमारे ये जो होता है तो सबके लिए। तो अल्लाह हाफिज़, मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में। तो अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसा रहा ये वाला एपिसोड? तो मिलते हैं अगले वाले एपिसोड में, क्योंकि ये वाला इतना था तो हम दूसरा वाला एपिसोड लगाते हैं। तब तक के लिए आप हमारे साथ कोऑपरेट करें, क्योंकि आपको पता है हम एपिसोड को टाइम से पहले वो अपलोड करते हैं, वो इसलिए थोड़ा थोड़ा अपलोड करते हैं ताकि उस पर कॉपीराइट ना आए, वैसे क्लेम ना आए। आजकल बहुत सारे क्लेम आते हैं, वो ब्लॉक हो जाता है, तो इस वजह से हम छोटे छोटे तकरीबन ये वाला क्लिप लगाते हैं ताकि आपको ये समझ आ जाए, तो इसके बाद हम दूसरे लगाते हैं। तो जैसे कि आपने देख भी अभी क्लेम नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि वो हम क्लिप ज़्यादा लगाएंगे तो क्लेम जल्दी आ जाएगा। तो इस वजह से हमने छोटा ऐड लगाया था ना, वो एपिसोड लगाया था तकरीबन 7-8 मिनट का। تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا. اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے. تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں, اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے. دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے. ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے, تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا, تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں, وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں. تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے ہیں. تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے. تو اللہ حافظ, ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں. تو السلام علیکم, کیسا رہا یہ والا ایپیسوڈ؟ تو ملتے ہیں اگلے والے ایپیسوڈ میں کیونکہ یہ والا اتنا تھا تو ہم دوسرا والا ایپیسوڈ لگاتے ہیں. تب تک کے لیے آپ ہمارے ساتھ کوآپریٹ کریں کیونکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم ایپیسوڈ کو ٹائم سے پہلے وہ اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. وہ اس لیے تھوڑا اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ اس پہ کاپی رائٹ نہ آئے, ویسے کلیم نہ آئے. آج کل بہت سارے کلیم آتے ہیں, وہ بلاک ہو جاتا ہے. تو اس وجہ سے ہم چھوٹے تقریباً یہ والا کلپ لگاتے ہیں تاکہ آپ کو یہ سمجھ آ جائے. تو اس کے بعد ہم دوسرے لگاتے ہیں. تو جیسے کہ آپ نے دیکھ لیا ابھی کلیم نہیں آئے گا کیونکہ وہ ہم کلپ زیادہ لگائیں گے تو کلیم جلدی آ جائے گا. تو اس وجہ سے ہم نے چھوٹا ایڈ لگایا تھا, وہ ایپیسوڈ لگایا تھا تقریباً 7-8 منٹ کا. تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا. اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے. تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں, اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے. دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے. ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے, تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا, تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں, وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں. تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے ہیں. تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے. تو اللہ حافظ, ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں. تو السلام علیکم, کیسا رہا یہ والا ایپیسوڈ؟ تو ملتے ہیں اگلے والے ایپیسوڈ میں کیونکہ یہ والا اتنا تھا تو ہم دوسرا والا ایپیسوڈ لگاتے ہیں. تب تک کے لیے آپ ہمارے ساتھ کوآپریٹ کریں کیونکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم ایپیسوڈ کو ٹائم سے پہلے وہ اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. وہ اس لیے تھوڑا اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ اس پہ کاپی رائٹ نہ آئے, ویسے کلیم نہ آئے. آج کل بہت سارے کلیم آتے ہیں, وہ بلاک ہو جاتا ہے. تو اس وجہ سے ہم چھوٹے تقریباً یہ والا کلپ لگاتے ہیں تاکہ آپ کو یہ سمجھ آ جائے. تو اس کے بعد ہم دوسرے لگاتے ہیں. تو جیسے کہ آپ نے دیکھ لیا ابھی کلیم نہیں آئے گا کیونکہ وہ ہم کلپ زیادہ لگائیں گے تو کلیم جلدی آ جائے گا. تو اس وجہ سے ہم نے چھوٹا ایڈ لگایا تھا, وہ ایپیسوڈ لگایا تھا تقریباً 7-8 منٹ کا. تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا. اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے. تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں, اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے. دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے. ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے، کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں۔ زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا، تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں، وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں، تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے ہیں۔ تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے۔ تو اللہ حافظ، ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں۔ تو السلام علیکم، کیسا رہا یہ والا ایپیسوڈ؟ تو ملتے ہیں اگلے والے ایپیسوڈ میں، کیونکہ یہ والا اتنا تھا تو ہم دوسرا والا ایپیسوڈ لگاتے ہیں۔ تب تک کے لیے آپ ہمارے ساتھ کوآپریٹ کریں، کیونکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم ایپیسوڈ کو ٹائم سے پہلے وہ اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں، وہ اس لیے تھوڑا تھوڑا اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ اس پہ کاپی رائٹ نہ آئے، ویسے کلیم نہ آئے۔ آج کل بہت سارے کلیم آتے ہیں، وہ بلاک ہو جاتا ہے، تو اس وجہ سے ہم چھوٹے چھوٹے تقریباً یہ والا کلپ لگاتے ہیں تاکہ آپ کو یہ سمجھ آ جائے، تو اس کے بعد ہم دوسرے لگاتے ہیں۔ تو جیسے کہ آپ نے دیکھ لیا، ابھی کلیم نہیں آئے گا کیونکہ وہ ہم کلپ زیادہ لگائیں گے تو کلیم جلدی آ جائے گا، تو اس وجہ سے ہم نے چھوٹا ایڈ لگایا تھا، وہ ایپیسوڈ لگایا تھا تقریباً 7-8 منٹ کا، تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا، اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے، تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں، اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے، دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے۔ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے، کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں۔ زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا، تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں، وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں، تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے ہیں۔ تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے۔ تو اللہ حافظ، ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں۔ تو السلام علیکم، کیسا رہا یہ والا ایپیسوڈ؟ تو ملتے ہیں اگلے والے ایپیسوڈ میں، کیونکہ یہ والا اتنا تھا تو ہم دوسرا والا ایپیسوڈ لگاتے ہیں۔ تب تک کے لیے آپ ہمارے ساتھ کوآپریٹ کریں، کیونکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم ایپیسوڈ کو ٹائم سے پہلے وہ اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں، وہ اس لیے تھوڑا تھوڑا اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ اس پہ کاپی رائٹ نہ آئے، ویسے کلیم نہ آئے۔ آج کل بہت سارے کلیم آتے ہیں، وہ بلاک ہو جاتا ہے، تو اس وجہ سے ہم چھوٹے چھوٹے تقریباً یہ والا کلپ لگاتے ہیں تاکہ آپ کو یہ سمجھ آ جائے، تو اس کے بعد ہم دوسرے لگاتے ہیں۔ تو جیسے کہ آپ نے دیکھ لیا، ابھی کلیم نہیں آئے گا کیونکہ وہ ہم کلپ زیادہ لگائیں گے تو کلیم جلدی آ جائے گا، تو اس وجہ سے ہم نے چھوٹا ایڈ لگایا تھا، وہ ایپیسوڈ لگایا تھا تقریباً 7-8 منٹ کا، تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا، اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے، تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں، اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے، دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے۔ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے، کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں۔ زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا، تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں، وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں، تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے. تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے. تو اللہ حافظ, ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں. تو السلام علیکم, کیسا رہا یہ والا ایپیسوڈ؟ تو ملتے ہیں اگلے والے ایپیسوڈ میں, کیونکہ یہ والا اتنا تھا تو ہم دوسرا والا ایپیسوڈ لگاتے ہیں. تب تک کے لیے آپ ہمارے ساتھ کوآپریٹ کریں, کیونکہ آپ کو پتہ ہے ہم ایپیسوڈ کو ٹائم سے پہلے وہ اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. وہ اس لیے تھوڑا تھوڑا اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ اس پہ کاپی رائٹ نہ آئے, ویسے کلیم نہ آئے. آج کل بہت سارے کلیم آتے ہیں, وہ بلاک ہو جاتا ہے. تو اس وجہ سے ہم چھوٹے چھوٹے تقریباً یہ والا کلپ لگاتے ہیں تاکہ آپ کو یہ سمجھ آ جائے. تو اس کے بعد ہم دوسرے لگاتے ہیں. تو جیسے کہ آپ نے دیکھ لیا ابھی کلیم نہیں آئے گا, کیونکہ وہ ہم کلپ زیادہ لگائیں گے تو کلیم جلدی آ جائے گا. تو اس وجہ سے ہم نے چھوٹا ایڈ لگایا تھا, وہ ایپیسوڈ لگایا تھا تقریباً 7-8 منٹ کا. تو اس کے بعد 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایپیسوڈ آئے گا. اسی طرح 7-8 منٹ کا اور ایک ایپیسوڈ کو ہم 3 ایپیسوڈ میں ڈیوائڈ کرتے ہیں, کیونکہ ادھر ایڈ زیادہ آتا ہے. تو جیسے کہ ایڈ بھی آتا ہے اس میں, اور ایک تو کاپی رائٹ کا وہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے. دوسرا ہم وقت سے پہلے ایپیسوڈ کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں, کیونکہ ایپیسوڈ زیادہ جلدی نہیں آتا ہے. ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 جیسے کہ ایپیسوڈ آتا ہے 9 بجے تو ہم اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں 7 بجے, کیونکہ ہم پہلے اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں. زیادہ تر آڈینس کی وہ جلدی دیکھنے کا وہ ہوتا ہے نا, تو جلدی ہوتا ہے کہ ہم ایپیسوڈ دیکھ لیں, وہ اس کے لیے ویٹ کرتے ہیں. تو اس وجہ سے ہم جلدی ایپیسوڈ کو ڈھونڈتے ہیں اور اس کو اپلوڈ کرتے ہیں تاکہ آپ لوگ کو پہنچ جاتے ہیں. تو اگر آپ ہمارے اس کاپی رائٹ والے ورک سے مطمئن ہیں تو ہمارے یوٹیوب چینل کو سبسکرائب کریں اور ویڈیو کو شیئر کریں تاکہ ہمارے یہ جو ہوتا ہے تو سب کے لیے. تو اللہ حافظ, ملتے ہیں اگلے ایپیسوڈ میں.